Welcome to Pau in southern France for round 4 of the 5-race 2022 ICF Canoe-Slalom World Cup. It's 4 weeks since the World Championships in Augsburg, Germany, and we have over 200 athletes from 37 nations who have gathered here in the foothills of the Pyrenees as we conclude the ICF World Cup Series over the next 2 weekends. So it's kayak semi-finals time with the fastest boats from these heats yesterday racing in reverse order of their heats result for a place in the 10-boat final. Here on this great venue, opened about 10 years ago here in Pau, and has already hosted a number of major races, World Cup races and the World Championships back in 2017. Perfect conditions again. We've been very lucky through the World Cup Series. Then it is supposed to be hot later on today and certainly supposed to be hot tomorrow. And our course designers, Irati Goikachea and Anthony Collin, have set the challenge. 25 gates stand between these athletes and a place in the final. So I'm Andy Maddock, and alongside me, Ria Sribar of the United States of America. We will lead you through this action here. Here's the schedule. And of course, well, welcome to the booth, Ria.
Thank you, Andy.
Ria is an under-23 World Championship medalist.
Bronze, yeah.
At extreme as well as in canoe slalom.
The bronze was in a World Cup in Tottenham 2020. But yeah.
So, well, we're getting ready for the action. Here is the start list. 30 boats qualified through in this women's kayak semi-final. And they're racing in reverse order of the results in the heats. So there's some big names going off quite early on in this competition, which is always useful to just get a taste of the times that might take to get into the final.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see some of the top boats go at the start, because then you have a benchmark for the rest.
Yeah, we've got 3-time Olympic medalist Mayelen Chirot of Spain second off. Of course, Olympic champion from Rio 2016. And she hadn't competed at all in the World Cup. She came from nowhere and she made the world's final just a month ago.
Yeah, it was really incredible to watch. A little bit surprising, but it was very cool. She's definitely a very strong paddler.
So back-to-back races to finish off this World Cup Series. This is race 4, and race 5 is next weekend in Laseo, just over the Pyrenees in northern Spain. And that'll be double points. And that's where it really starts to get into the sharp end of determining who will take the World Cup title for 2022. Well, you always get a good crowd here in Pau as well, and the weather certainly helps.
Yeah, the weather's been really good this weekend. We've been lucky.
So you can see the athletes who are going later on in the competition, just making their preparations. So as we just got a slight delay to getting started. There was just a final last-minute gate height adjustment. So, well, let's just talk through the course, Ria. 25 gates, that's quite long, and it's quite a physical course here, isn't it?
Yeah, Pau's always the kind of course where you come down a little bit winded. But I think it's about the same for everyone, so it makes it for an exciting race. And it's fun because there's a lot of different types of moves throughout the course, so it makes it very exciting.
And you've trained and raced here a lot, so what's your take on this course? Where's going to be the biggest challenge in this semi-final?
Probably towards the end, just because that's where everyone's the most tired and they set up a few technical moves, so it should be interesting to see the times there, whether people gain or lose.
Yeah, it certainly looks the physical demands of this course are well known, and particularly down round the upstream gate 21. It's quite a technical element to that, and very easy to drop, you know, undo all the hard work really that you've done at the top.
Exactly.
Well, whilst we are just waiting for the final adjustment of the course, it is a good opportunity. We get these great shots here. Here's a drone shot of the start line. And what's going through your head when you're sitting on that start line in this semi-final?
Oh my God. I'm normally just trying to look at the first gate, because if I start looking at the crowd, I get nervous. So just try to focus on what you got to do, and focus on what you've planned for the run, and just try to keep your head straight.
Well, you know, and it's so important, isn't it, to deliver maybe the first 3, 4, 5 gates, get that to plan, and how important is that in terms of influencing how the whole run goes?
I mean, for me personally, I think when I get the first few gates down, then you just kind of get into a rhythm, and it's less of thinking, and it's just more like instinctive reactions, which is good. So yeah, the first few gates are fairly important just to set the pace.
Yeah, and it all comes with experience as well. We've got some hugely experienced paddlers on this start line. Maëlle Chireau, we've already talked about, from Spain, the Olympic champion of Rio 2016, but 3-time Olympic medalist. And we've also got the likes of Jessica Fox racing, 3-time world champion. Ricarda Funk of Germany, who has just defended her world title, adding a second world title alongside being the reigning Olympic champion from Tokyo last year. And Elena Lilik of Germany, she's always a force to be reckoned with.
An amazing season, yeah.
And in terms of the World Cup standings, then at the moment in the women's kayak, it is Jessica Fox leading the way, ahead of Teresa Fisarova of the Czech Republic, and then Victoria Us of Ukraine. And it's interesting, Teresa Fisarova in her first season in the senior team in kayak has really made her mark.
Yeah, she's always been a really strong paddler, but in the Czech Republic, it's making the team is already most of the battle for the season, so she did a really good job at selections, and she's definitely proven that she's a force to be reckoned with in K1 as well.
Yeah, and of course, we're in France, and the French will be strong. This is kind of a little bit of a stronghold for the French team, isn't it? A lot, if not, well, most of the team train here on a regular basis. And we've got the likes of Camille Prigent racing. We've got Romain Prigent, and then the younger Emma Vuitton.
Yeah, Emma Vuitton's had an amazing season as well. Very young, very talented, very fast. So it should be exciting.
So 30 boats lining up, ready in this women's kayak semi-final. We are underway, and first off, Florence Maillot of Canada gets us underway. Only 10 boats in that final. That final you can follow live at Planet Canoe here, 12 o'clock Central European time today. So our first opportunity really to talk you through the gates, and 6 upstream gates, the red and white gates, the rest are downstream gates. And a solid start.
Pretty solid, yeah. I think she's going to be happy with that, apart from the touch.
So the touch there, 2-second penalty on the downstream gate 4. 2 seconds given for hitting any part of the pole with any part of your body, boat or your paddle. And it's a 50-second penalty if you miss a gate or incorrectly negotiate the gate. And essentially at this stage in the competition, it's game over. So a few choices. The course designers, Irati Goikachea and Anthony Collin, have set, particularly down at the bottom. We'll see a few spins, I expect.
For sure, yeah. Especially in the semi-final, I think people won't want to risk too much, but we'll see.
Well, coming down now, Florence has she finished 23rd in the Tokyo Games so far, 32nd, then 32nd again in the 2 World Cups she's done so far this season, and then 37th in Augsburg. So this is the highest she's progressed so far in the competition, the World Cup series this season. A good opportunity to deliver a solid run into the last couple of upstream gates. This is where the physical nature really comes in.
Yeah, this is where you're just barely holding on, trying to sprint to the finish. And they put 2 upstreams at the end, which is the most difficult type of move to have at the end.
So really digging deep into the reserves, and stops the clock at 1:22.79. That includes the 2-second penalty. And well, it'll just be a time to wait and see where that compares. But on course now, Maëlle Chireau of Spain, the Olympic champion of Rio 2016. She performed superbly in the World Championships. We haven't seen her around 5th place at a World Championship. She took a bit of time out from competition after last year's Tokyo Games, and she seems to be really flying.
Yeah, she's the type of paddler to come out at the biggest races and really pull through. So, yeah, 6 seconds, 6.6.
So already a significant advantage over Mo of Canada. Now through the fiddly offset sequence down in the middle part of the course before we get back into the real technical and physical element in this Whitewater Stadium. This is an artificial course built around 10 years ago, and it certainly has got a reputation in terms of it's a really good place for year-round quality training. Now the advantage is extended, 8.29. This is looking good.
Yeah, she's making really good time and fairly tight on the gates, good lines.
I suspect a number of people still to go later on will be watching what she does to just inform what their final decision is on some of the options. She's done 19, 20, 21 really nicely.
Definitely, and she did the move direct, which Florence did earlier as a spin. So
no penalties showing at the moment. There is a review by the video judges on gate 16, but at the moment nothing showing. And surely Maëlle Chireau sets the new time to be 1:11.64. And well, at the moment it is clean. That's certainly good enough for the lead. But still 28 boats to go, and they're the fastest 28 boats from the heats yesterday as we watch. Next up for the Netherlands, Lena Teunissen, 25-year-old on course. And well, she's got quite a reputation at junior and under 23 level, finalist in those categories, and now starting to make her mark at senior level.
yeah, she's definitely a very fast paddler. Pretty strong too.
So a lot of international paddlers, particularly those who kind of live outside of Europe, use Po as a bit of a training base. And what makes it so attractive?
I mean, mainly it's that there's water year-round, which is something that a lot of other training sites don't have. And even in the winter, the temperatures are fairly mild. So it just makes it a solid place to train, and a lot of people come here, so it's good to have the company and to learn from others as well.
It certainly is a good, even before this site was built, it was, yeah, a lot of people who come to Saint-Pé just down the road for some mild weather training.
Exactly.
And well, this is a good run coming together for Lena.
Yeah, and it looks like she made some time in the second split.
Just the 2-second penalty on gate 9, the upstream gate. That's the only blemish to this run at the moment, and still in touch with the race lead time. And into the final upstream gate, 1:11.64 is the time to beat. It's going to be outside that, but it's a respectable run here for Teunissen of the Netherlands. 1:16.60, and it's a long sprint at the finish, isn't it?
It is a long sprint, yes.
It's kind of, you can just see every stroke and just how hard the athletes are working, the physical nature of it. So next up, it is Elena Marx of Switzerland, 21-year-old, now coming into the upstream gate 5. She just dropped a little bit low. She looked like she really got the line in, and then just the bows washed at the last minute.
Yeah.
So I think this course, since it was open, when it first opened, the water was a little unpredictable, and it's probably a little bit bigger. It seems that over the years, the little adjustments they've made to it has made it much more consistent, but maybe not quite as big.
They've worked on this course quite a bit and made slight changes throughout the years, so it's definitely more consistent.
Well, in touch on the early split, 2 seconds down on race leader Maëlle Chireau of Spain. Elena Marx now coming down through gate 17. She was 17th at the Euros, 24th at the World Championships just a month ago in Augsburg. What a worlds they were. What was your main memory from those World Championships?
Oh, the crowd. The crowd was amazing.
It was a sensational 2 days of finals, but just throughout the week it was a good atmosphere. But there was about 8,000 people on site.
Yeah, something like that. It was absolutely amazing. I don't think I've seen a race like it.
Well, I think there's a lot of people left Augsburg with some really, really positive vibes, and well, it's a hard act to follow as we go towards the next World Championships in Lee Valley in London in September next year. As crossing the line now is Elena Marks, and she does enough to go into third place. So 1:17.29, a clean run. So next to start, Eva Alina Hodcheva of Slovenia. Another up-and-coming name that is really starting to make their mark. Just missed out at the finals at under-23 World Championships and European Championships this year, finishing 11th in both competitions, but very capable of making a final here.
Yeah, she's definitely a strong paddler, and I think those two 11th places have made her just hungrier for more, so she should be able to pull through, I think. We'll see.
She was a junior world champion in 2018, and she did make a final in the first race of the season, the Prague World Cup race. She finished 5th in that race.
Yeah, she's definitely had a good season. A bit of ups and downs, but definitely shown what she can do and proven that she's definitely part of the future of Slovenian kayaking.
So here, this into the business end, through 19, you've really got to work hard to get across, get the bows down through 20 in order to get high into this upstream 21.
Yeah. She did that fairly nicely, I think. Should be pretty quick.
Well, she was in touch in the second split. Can she hold on to that? 2 more gates to go. This is where all that physical training comes into play. Have you got it left in the arms, particularly even on the last sprint? You're exiting the upstream gate, and we've just seen it's still quite a long way to the finish.
It's quite a long sprint, but I think she's pretty much there with the times.
So 1:12.77, just outside the race lead time, but importantly into second place. There's only 10 places in the final, so those tenths of a second really matter. Now, Ana Chatila of Brazil on course. 26-year-old who has been super consistent over the World Cup season so far, making the final in all 3 races, 6th, 8th, 9th. Just missed the final in Augsburg. She was 12th there, so has had a very good opening part of the season. Now in the second part of the season, this is the first opportunity to really get some momentum. She was 13th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo last season, and in touch on the top. And anyone who's heard my commentary will know that I always say you can't win the race at the top, but you can lose it.
You can lose it, but you can't win it.
So it is all about just keeping in touch with the race leader, but often the key part of the course is down the middle and the bottom. That's when it all starts to get really important.
Yeah, and she's only a second down on the first split, so she definitely has room to catch up, although 3.5 seconds now.
So just important here, she's a little bit late to 19, she's got to get round 20, looks like, and she's missed the curl, so she's low into 21, and that'll be more time just slipping away for Anna. She's kept her cool, she didn't panic on that, but she's definitely lost her a significant chunk of time.
Yeah.
Anna will be racing in the canoe events as well tomorrow. So you can follow the canoe, women's canoe, then men's canoe semi-finals, 9 o'clock Central European time here at Planet Canoe. As Ana Chatila now comes down towards the finish. Last few strokes, and that little mistake around gate 19, 2021 proved costly there on the clock, and only into 4th place. So here's a name to watch, Mallory Franklin of Great Britain. the World Championships silver medalist from 2018 in Brazil, and always a contender. She was a bronze medalist at the European Championships earlier on this season. Has had a 4th, a 24th and a 2nd in the World Cup so far this season. So pretty consistent, other than that blemish in Krakow in Poland.
Yeah.
So in touch at the early split, and certainly looking very fluid.
Yeah, we see a lot of the girls gaining a little bit on Maëlyn's time in the end, so if she can keep the lines clean, she might have a chance at setting the new time.
So Mallory didn't have it all her own way yesterday. She had to do it in 2 runs. She didn't get through. She got a 50-second penalty on the first run of the heats. Had to go again on the second runs. And is that a penalty? It is. Confirmed on gate 19. So a little bit late as well. Another person just not quite finding the groove in that move, and it's so easy then to slip away.
Yeah. It's tricky at the end because you're so tired and you're just trying to hold the focus for a little bit longer and push a little bit longer, but
well, she's nice out of 25, but time to beat 1:11.64, and it's all about the fractions now because there's only 10 spots in the final, and 1:16.24 into 3rd place for now. But I think she knows it. That mistake down the bottom has left the door wide open, and that may be difficult to qualify from there. On course now, Natalia Pasierpniak of Poland. 29th in Prague, 12th in Krakow. So no finals so far in this World Cup season, but very capable and has been on the podium at World Cup level.
yeah, she's been around for quite some time and she's definitely paddled really well through many seasons. So
she's the closest to get to Maëlyn Chirot of Spain so far on that top split. As you say, very experienced. She's been to Olympic Games, she's multiple World Championships, and this is her opportunity on the second part of the season to really get that drive underway. We've got the 2 World Cups, but also there's a World Ranking event in Livali, London.
oh, and she's up on the split.
So someone is challenging Chirot of Spain now. And then we've also got an event at the end of September on the Paris Olympic course, which I think will be well attended as well.
Yeah, it should be exciting.
So Natalia Pasierpniak still holding on. She's the virtual race leader, but it's all going to be down to this bottom part of the course. Now, the Polish athletes generally very strong physically. They train on relatively flatter water, and for that reason they tend to be good on the physical side. Has she done enough to take the race lead here? It's going to be outside by just under half a second, but into 2nd place for Pasierpniak of Poland. And the top 3 after 8 boats down. Maëlyn Chirot still leading for Spain, and then Natalia Pasierpniak of Poland, and then Eva-Elina Hočevar of Slovenia. As we now watch Teresa Fisarova of the Czech Republic on course. Now she's one to watch.
Definitely, yeah. She's had some really outstanding performances this World Cup season, so it'll be fun to see what she can do.
Which looks like she might have just picked a touch up on gate 9. Yes, it is. A confirmed 2-second penalty added on to her time. And, well, she can't afford any more of those, really. 5th in Prague, 2nd in Krakow, then missed the final in Tartu, the last World Cup we had at the end of June. And then in terms of the World Championships, a disappointing World Championships, 29th, so went out in the semi-final stage of the competition. So now into the business end here, setting up. She's still in touch That includes the 2-second penalty. So she's in touch with Chiro of Spain.
Yeah, she definitely had a fast middle section.
So here coming into this final part of the course. Double upstream gate 24 and 25. She's still got the arms, hasn't she? She's still got the energy.
Yeah, she's looking very strong here at the end. Now it's down to the sprint.
She's got to dig deep now. Make it work. And then through the finish line, and it is just outside, but into second place. Teresa Fisarova goes into the top 3 for the Czech Republic. Still 21 boats to go though in this women's kayak semi-final, and here the first of 3 French athletes now. Emma Vuitton sets off in front of her home crowd, and I'm sure she'll be very familiar with this Pau course, mainly used for the selection trials for the French team ever since it was constructed.
Yeah, she's a very talented and agile paddler, so I think she can make good use of the course.
She's only done 1 World Cup so far this season, that was in Krakow, but she made the most of that, making the final, finishing 10th in that final. And silver at the Under-23 World Championships this year, 4th at the Under-23 European Championships, so very much a contender for a place in the final here. So this course drops 5 meters from top to bottom and runs 12 cubic meters per second, so that's 12,000 liters of water per second coming down the course, creating this whitewater course.
She was pretty fast in the middle section, gaining some time on the second split, so we'll see. She's in the bottom.
She's closing the gap, and she's good on 21.
Yeah.
You can hear the French crowd certainly willing her on as she comes down into the final double upstream gate. Nicely through 24. This is going to challenge the race lead time. Ducking and diving, but importantly, she keeps it clean. Now it's her against the clock, and surely we're looking at the new race leader. It's going to be tight though, and it is inside, just inside. And Emma Vuitton takes the lead for France.
Second French now.
So from one French paddler to another, you're right. Next up, Romain Prigent. And well, that's got the crowd animated this morning. That's woken them up here. It's quite early still. The crowd's still just gathering here, but that's given them something to shout about. So Romain Prigent, another accomplished paddler. She was 5th in the only World Cup she's done this season, so again, really capable of making it into the final. 4th at the Under-23 World Championships this year, just missed out on the World Championship final, 11th place. Sometimes some would say the worst place to finish. Some would say 4th is as well, but it's still a pretty good result. And she's up on the top split, look at that, by 0.71. Part of that, though, is because Emma Vuitton wasn't as quick on the top of the course.
Yeah, we'll see what she can do on the bottom. Emma was really, really fast at the bottom, so we'll see if she can keep up. Although it looks like she is.
So Romain Prigent, as you say, Ria, she is holding it on. And into this difficult section, she's done that very nicely. She's going to be super tight into 21. And surely the race lead is being challenged again here in Pau. Oh, but that's a mistake on the clock. That will be penalised a little bit, but also the penalty could make the difference, certainly between a first place and even the top 3. Oh, another penalty, and suddenly there's 2 touches confirmed, and the time is slipping away. Romain Prigent, she was up at the second split, but has to settle for 8th place in the end, and it's unlikely to progress to the final.
Yeah, that's the thing about the bottom. You got to be really careful, because little mistakes like that can hold you back from the final. Otherwise, it was a stellar run.
Yeah, it's a cruel sport, canoe slalom.
A little bit, yeah.
You can go from hero to zero very quickly indeed. So on course now, Carol Bouzidi for Algeria, who, well, she's a former European champion 10 years ago on this course, I think. No, maybe not on this course, actually. 2012 it was, but she's certainly been a World Cup medalist, I think, on this course. Now racing for Algeria. She used to race for France, and she's got the pace on the top part of the course.
Yeah, she's definitely making a comeback this year. Now that she's racing for Algeria, she has the chance to race the World Cups, and she's been proving herself to be really, really strong and capable.
And of course, I'm sure the lure of the Olympic Games will be very much in her sights in Paris. It's not that far away, only, I think, under 750 days away.
Yeah.
And the Olympic qualification process will start this time next year.
Yeah, in London.
So Carol looking very strong. 2.6 down on the middle split. And a little bit held. That's the challenge, isn't it, on that move, gate 20. You want to use the stopper, but you don't want to go in it.
Exactly. It's this fine line between going into the stopper and getting pushed all the way down. It's definitely hard to manage at this point on the course, where you're probably very tired and just trying to get to the bottom.
So I think the time loss will be further extended in this bottom part of the course, already just outside the time. And now Carol Bouzidi for Algeria sprints towards the finish line and stops the clock in 9th place, 118.17. It is a clean run, but it's not going to be enough to make it into the 10-boat final here in Pau. We're live here at Planet Canoe. Myself, Andy Maddock, and then alongside me Ria Sribar of the US team, talking you through the action as it unfolds. And on course now, Emily Appel of Germany, certainly cutting some lines at the top.
Definitely tight, but also looking quite quick, and we'll see what the split says. Yeah, she's doing a really quick top, although 6 is under review and 9 as well, but we'll see what the judges say.
Yeah, I think the review quite often is just to make sure, they don't necessarily disagree with the penalty that's been awarded, but it's just to verify that that is the correct decision, just to be fair in the competition. And the judges have a lot more different camera angles to what we're watching here on the broadcast, and they will make every use of that. There's some static cameras perfectly positioned to make the decision. Remember, the whole head has to go through the gate and at the same time part of the boat through the gate. That is what the judges are doing when they make the decision. But no penalty showing at the moment, and still very much in touch for Emily Appel of Germany. But it's a mistake at the bottom. She tightens it up, and surely that is a 50-second penalty.
A 50, yeah. It was unfortunate. The top was really, really fast, very close to Emma's time.
And, well, it's not going to be today for Emily Appel of Germany. 50-second penalty awarded there on gate 23. She was very much in control, but you only have to get offline on one gate, and it is all over. Here it is. Here's the slow-mo. You see, she doesn't get across enough. She tries, but she doesn't get her head in, and she certainly doesn't get her boat in.
Definitely.
So, next up, Victoria Wolfhart of Austria, low into gate 5, doesn't get the help off the hole that she would have liked.
She can come back from that, though. The eddy pulls you up pretty quickly, so if she keeps it clean on the bottom, she can still be within the top few.
Victoria is a very experienced athlete. She was 19th at the World Championships, 11th in Tokyo last year, and she is up on the top split. But we know it's all about holding it together through the whole part of the course, and there a little bit of a time loss in the middle section, just an extra rotation just to make sure she keeps it clean. Her record at the moment over the course of the World Cup, 22nd, 14th and 13th, so yet to make a final in this 2022 World Cup season. Now a second down on the second split. And what goes through your mind, Ria, when you know you've made a little bit of a mistake, you know you're trying to chase time? What's going through your mind towards the bottom of the course?
I mean, for me personally, I just try to focus on what gates I have ahead and forget about what I messed up in the past. And I think it, at the same time, pushes you a little bit harder. You want to push a little harder because you know you made this mistake and you don't want to dwell on it, but it definitely motivates you a little bit to push through the pain. So you never know, it can make you go faster in the end.
Well, Wolfhard for Austria goes into 6th place, 1:13.27, and it shows it's so tight.
Yeah, top 4 are all within a second.
Yeah, top 6 all within 2 seconds, so it really is tight. You've got to be on the right side of the tents today. And on course now, Stephanie Horn for Italy. Now we can expect her to challenge the race lead time. She's the European champion of 2022. She was a finalist at the World Championships, finished 10th there, and has had a solid record in the World Cup so far. 8th in the first World Cup, 18th and 12th. And you'd never rule her out. She was 4th at the Tokyo Olympic Games.
Yeah, definitely an incredibly strong paddler. And she's making good time at the top.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds up on race leader Emma Vuitton of France, leading ahead of Mayelen Chirot of Spain, Teresa Fisarova of the Czech Republic in the top 3. But the lead is under threat. This is the critical section now. This is where it can be really, all the hard work can be undone, or you can find even more time. At the moment, Horn has extended the advantage, and it looks like she's just about okay on 21.
Yeah, that was very well done. She's definitely making a solid run.
Now into this double upstream gate. Really physical move, water pretty stationary, so really needing to work hard on the blade, really get the lines right, and then it is just a case of digging in.
Exactly. She's strong. I think this might be our new leader.
It is, and it is by a margin. 1:09, the first one under the 110 seconds. And Stephanie Horn goes into the race lead for Italy. She knows that's good. And well, we're at the halfway point in this women's kayak semi-final. And I think Stephanie Horn can get ready for the final.
I think so. I think that should be a pretty solid time.
So the top 3 now, Horn leads for Italy, Vuitton of France in 2nd, Chirot of Spain in 3rd. So say 15 to go. It won't be long before we start confirming the 10 finalists. As we watch Klaudia Swalinska now for Poland. 6th in Augsburg. She's had a good World Cup season, 11th, then 4th, then 14th. So consistent and certainly capable of making it into this final. It's interesting, the kind of 2-stage season, the back end of the 2022 season. We had a World Championships in the middle of the year. That's not usual.
Yeah, very unusual.
And it's interesting that pretty much everybody's racing in the second part of the season.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of surprising to me, but I think a lot of people with the 4-week break took a little bit of time off and then got motivated back into training, so everyone's looking very strong and competitive.
Yeah, it's interesting following the different athletes and all the different things, but yeah, you're right, a lot of people took a break, whether that was an active break, there were people doing all sorts of stuff over the summer, or whether it was actually just a relaxing break. But
I mean, it was a very long season, especially for the Europeans. They had Europeans, then the race in Augsburg preparing for the Worlds, and then 3 World Cups back-to-back, so it was definitely well-deserved.
So Klaudia Swalinska into 8th place for Poland, 1:13.88, and you can just see the margins there. Just can't afford to be the wrong side really now of, well, you've got to be under 112 seconds to even be in with a shout on place in the final. On course now, Phoebe Spicer for Great Britain.
She had quite a solid run yesterday. Definitely happy about that.
Yeah, she delivered a good performance yesterday in the first run, straight through into the semi-final. 6th at the Under-23 World Championships earlier on this summer in Ivrea in Italy. And that was a well, it was a fierce competition, really strong competition run there in pretty intense heat as well.
Yeah.
We're expecting it to be hot here, certainly tomorrow. 33 degrees it's forecast to be tomorrow. We've got the canoe slalom events, and then of course we've got the finals of the extreme kayak, a new event for the Paris 2024 games as well. So you can follow that all live here at Planet Canoe. But Phoebe Spicer has picked up a 2-second penalty on gate 9. Just the time slipping away here. She goes for the spin on 19. I'm not sure if that was planned, but I guess the intention there will be to make sure she gets tight in on 21.
A little bit low on 21, but I don't think the spin cost her very much. Set her up well.
Well, she did that well. She's only had a few World Cups in her career, so seizing every opportunity. She's made the most of this, but has she just picked up a penalty on 24?
I think she might have. We'll wait for the judges.
Yeah, they haven't seen it, so it may just be my eyesight, but we'll have to wait and see. It is being reviewed, and Phoebe Spicer crosses the line. 120.99. No penalty showing on 24 for now, but it is being reviewed. And into 15th place. So now Zuzana Pankova is on course, the Slovakian, who is still a junior.
Yeah, she's an incredibly strong, fast paddler. Really young too, so.
She was 6th at the Junior World Championships earlier on this season. Junior European champion last season, and has certainly made her mark at senior level when she's been in action. Not got the consistency yet that you would expect at senior level, but I guess that's what you expect with a junior, isn't it?
Yeah, she's incredibly fast, but obviously juniors, they don't have quite as much experience as someone 10 years their senior, so it's to be expected, but she's definitely defied expectations, I think, this season, and had some really incredible performances throughout the season.
Just half a second down on the first split on race leader Stephanie Horner for Italy, and still in touch on the second split within a second.
Ooh.
And if she can hold on to that, she's in contention for a place in the final. Kind of saying, to be in the mix for a place in the final, you've got to be under 112 seconds. Nice. Oh, I was just going to say nicely done, but just pivots the boat, takes the 2-second penalty, and another one on 19. So suddenly that deficit of a second is looking like a bigger deficit than she'd like. Now it's all down to the sprint to the finish, and it just seems so long, doesn't it?
It does, but she made it fairly quickly. I think it's just a shame for the penalties, otherwise she would have been right there.
Right into, it would have been second place. 4.49 the deficit. That included 2 touches, 4 seconds of penalties. So a name to watch for the future, but at this stage it's unlikely that we'll see Zuzana Pankova in the final. So next on course it is Antoni Galoškova of the Czech Republic. Another big name on the under-23 kind of stage, starting to make their mark at senior level.
Yeah, she was U23 world champion, or U23 European champion, sorry, this year, so.
Two-time junior world champion.
As well, yeah.
She's already made a final in the first World Cup of the season in Prague. We had the Prague race first, then we went to Krakow, then Tartu in Slovenia. That was the 3 back-to-back World Cup races. Then we had the break for the World Championships and also for the Junior and Under-23 World Championships. And now we're back here in Pau France for the round 4 We finish next weekend in La Seu d'Urgell in Spain for the World Cup final, and of course double points race.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a long season for all the U23s and juniors that are also on senior teams. Because when there was the break for the senior races, there were 2 more junior races. So
yeah, and how do you deal with that? I mean, you've obviously had to make decisions around that. Do you decide to drop a few races, or do you just go for the experience and try and do more races?
I think it depends obviously on the person and the season. This year I didn't drop anything, but last year I took the second half of the season off. It depends how prepared you are mentally and physically. It can be very tiring, but it's also a good experience. So.
Yeah, and I guess particularly for competitors, you know, the competitions mainly happen in Europe, and for competitors like you outside Europe, you also have to fit in either studying or working, and it's not easy.
No, it's definitely not easy, but we're lucky that we get to stay in Europe for so long.
So Anthony Galoskova goes into 10th place, and unlikely to make the final, unfortunately, as we watch. Camille Prigent for France. Already France pretty certain of Emma Vuitton to make it through into the final. But will we see Camille make it through? Well, she's very capable of doing that. She's already had, well, the 2 World Cups she's done. She's made the final 3rd and 6th, so already a medal from the season. She didn't do the 3rd World Cup. She chose to focus more on the World Championships. And in those World Championships, she finished 4th, so that was well worth doing as well.
Yeah, she's had a really, really strong season. Definitely showing what she can do, and I think she can be fast here on the bottom. She trains here quite a bit, so.
She certainly looks like she's got the rhythm, but 2.66 down, that's quite a big margin on the top. I suspect she'll have closed that down when she comes through the second split here. She has 1.91 and starting to make her mark. This is the critical move. This is what stands between her and a place in the final.
Very well done.
That's almost, I think, the best we've seen.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, she has cut the line on that gate there, 23. She certainly asked the judges to make the decision.
Definitely.
It's being reviewed. We'll have to wait and see. But here we have Camille Prigent now heading to the finish. She just focuses on delivering as much as she can, the power to the finish, and it is, look at that, a great recovery, but there is still a review on gate 23.
Yeah, provided that the review goes away, that's a solid second.
So provisionally into 2nd place, and that would almost certainly put her into the final, but we'll bring you up to date as the review concludes. But it's Stephanie Horn leading ahead of Camille Prigent and Emma Vuitton as we get towards, in fact we are at the point with 10 boats to go when we will confirm who our finalists are as we watch the world champion of 2019, Eva Tersel of Slovenia, setting off on her campaign. She's had a mixed season really, 40th in the first World Cup, 15th in the second, then she made the final in Tarsen on home water, and she has pulled it together. She made the final in Augsburg at the World Championships, finishing 8th, and she is up on the first split. So good to see Eva finding a bit of rhythm. She had a disastrous Olympics as the reigning world champion, and it's taken a while to get back to her form.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure going from world champion to Olympics, but she seems to be holding on here actually, up on the split.
She's done that superbly, 2.23. That is the fastest we've done, and really, really good on 21, even managing to pivot the bows round on 21. The world champion of 2019 is is under threat now, suddenly. 2-second penalty on 23. And she's recovered it, but there will be some time loss having hit the rocks. You don't get penalised for that, but the clock doesn't lie.
No, it's all down to the last sprint now.
So under 1 109.38 to guarantee a place in the final. 110.72, that should be enough. And well, she's shown her cards there. She's shown she's fast.
Definitely fast.
If she can deliver that in the final, she's going to be contending for a medal.
Yeah.
Now on course, Victoria Us of Ukraine, who has had a great season, lying third in the overall World Cup standings in this kayak event.
Yeah, I think it's the best season of her career. It's been really exciting to watch her.
She started off with a 13th in Prague, then 7th in Krakow, and then 3rd on the podium in Tarzen. And she just missed the final in Augsburg. But she's really, I don't know what it is, she just looks like she's found her rhythm.
Yeah, for sure. And also in C1, she's really strong in extreme. I believe she medaled, so she's definitely been having a good all-around season.
She made the final in Tokyo last year. She finished 8th at the Tokyo Olympics, so very much starting to emerge as a big name in this sport. And of course, if she wants to keep a top 3 position, then it's all about delivering still through the 5 races, and particularly in next weekend's World Cup final. That's where the double points are up for grabs. So she's held on to roughly the deficit that will still hold her into a place in the final. That's the job on the semi-finals, is to just make sure you've done enough to get through to the final. Then you can take some more risks.
Exactly.
And speaking of risks, I have to say it's bad news for France, because we do have confirmation Camille Prigent has been given a 50-second penalty on gate 23. That review, that was the outcome. So she moves out of 2nd place right down into 20th place and out of the final. So Victoria Us now 1:14.37. The time slips away at the bottom, and I think that's outside of the time into 12th place. So the cut-off time is looking around about 111 point something. And at the moment, Stephanie Horn and Eva Tersel are our 2 qualifiers with 8 to go. Karina Kundler now for Austria, in trouble at the top, low on gate 5, really having to work hard. The 2-time world champion.
It's definitely not the end, though. You can come back from that mistake, as we saw with Victoria Wolfhard. So
yeah, you know, with Connie as well, she's very physically strong.
She's very strong, yeah.
And the bottom part of the course, you'd expect her to be very strong. So, and look at that, 1.17. So it looked pretty untidy on gate 5,
yeah.
But it's not too bad when you look at it in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's one of those mistakes that you can definitely push through. It's not ideal, but you can get through it.
And almost a sign of a good, you know, really top paddler is you can make those mistakes. You can have an ugly run and still live to survive in the next round and go again.
For sure. And there's never really a perfect run either. That's the nature of the sport. So
2.15 seconds down. Karina Kundler can't really afford to let any more time slip away. And is that a touch on the back of the points here? It is.
Yes.
Just as we say that, she's suddenly looking like she's going to be the wrong side of the line. Out of the last gate, Kundler for Austria. It needs to be 1:11-ish to make it through into the final. It's well outside of that. It looks like, well, no penalty's been awarded on 24, but it is being looked at. But the damage is done, and no final for Karina Kundler. So that's good news for France. Emma Vuitton will be the only French representative in the 10-boat final as we watch Jessica Fox for Australia coming down the course. How do you describe her season? In the World Cup, 3 wins from 3 races.
Yeah, she's definitely had a good season. I mean, she's known for being incredibly consistent, so she's just proving that again.
She's the reigning World Cup champion in this kayak event. She was on the podium at the World Championships, had to settle for 2nd place, but she's up on the split here in this semi-final and doing the job to get into the final.
Yeah, and as we saw with her, she was low in 5 as well, but up on the split. So I think, you know, little mistakes happen, but it's more about how you push through them, and she's definitely recovered well.
Yeah, nicely. She's in and out of the upstream gate 16. Now, this is the critical move. She's extended the advantage, 1.6 now. But we've seen so many people come into this last sequence and either pick up a penalty or just make a line error.
That was very well done.
Jessica Fox cleanly through 23. That's caught a few people out. Just 2 more gates to go that stand between her and a place in this World Cup final. 1:09.38. That's the time she's got to beat. She now digs in. She still looks fresh, doesn't she? And I suspect she won't be fully sprinting to the finish. What a time, 1:07.05. Well done, Jessica. You are in the final. We look forward to seeing that final unfold. You can follow that live, 12 o'clock Central European time today. So, next up, Monica Doria Villarubla. 13th in Krakow. That's the only World Cup race where she's made it through into the semi-finals this season. But, hugely experienced paddler and under 23 World Championship bronze medalist this season. Good qualifying performance in the heats yesterday, and you'd expect her to be familiar. You know, living in Andorra.
Yeah, it's fairly close to here.
Probably the home course would be Laseo, where we're racing next weekend in the World Cup, but a lot of races just over the Pyrenees to come over and train here in Pau as well.
Yeah, she's fairly familiar with this course, I'm sure, and she's up on the split, on Jessica Fox's split, so.
Well, that's pretty good. Can she hold on to it? No, she's going to drop low into 16. Fox was particularly good in 16, but the job is getting through into the final, and she's well on track for that.
Yeah, still well in final time.
So she's still on track. If she holds on to that 1 second deficit, then she would go into second place and automatic qualification. At the moment, Fox, Horn, Tersel and Huiton are the 4 already qualified through into the final. Horn ducks in very nicely, has to react, but looks like she did pick up a penalty in doing that, and another one on 24.
Yeah, it's at the end when you're the most tired, you make the most mistakes.
Yeah, you can see the pole coming and there's not a lot you could do about it.
Exactly.
And for the Andorran paddler, Monica Doria Villarubla, it slips away at the bottom of the course. And the advantage at the top is a deficit at the bottom and out of the final, into 14th place at the moment. So, 5 to go, and Noemi Fox of Australia, the younger sister of Jessica, now on course, put in a great performance in the heats yesterday, and is now coming down, yet to make a final in the World Cup so far, 22nd, 28th and 23rd this season, 14th at the World Championships, so heading in the right direction.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch her progress, and you know, having Jess Fox as a sister is probably a strong motivator to push yourself. So
she's a 2-time under-23 World Championship finalist. Just a bit sticky there on that little downstream in the eddy, 12 to 13. But importantly, keeping it clean as she comes down around the bend, this horseshoe-shaped course into the upstream gate 16. Pole heights look quite generous on today's course. Would you agree with that?
yeah, I would say they're fairly well set. I think in Pau the water, although it's pretty consistent, it still bubbles up and down quite a bit, so they can't be too low or they'll hit the water at some point.
Unfortunately, though, the deficit is stacking up now for Noemi Fox. She's low on 21. She's dropped to nearly 7 seconds down, and well, if she can't make up that time, she'll be the wrong side of the line in terms of through into the final. The time for automatic qualification, 1:11.9. That's Teresa Fiserova of the Czech Republic. Look how she wraps herself around that pole. You can see the concentration, but the time has slipped away, and Noemi Fox of Australia into 19th place. So, well done, Teresa Fiserova for the Czech Republic. You're in the final two. Now, 4 to go. Kimberly Woods for Great Britain now, the World Championship bronze medalist from last season, 2021 in Bratislava. She made the final this year. She finished 9th in that final. Olympic finalist in Tokyo. Now, what can she do coming into this upstream gate 9? You get an indication as to where she stacks up on the split, and in touch.
She's fast.
Nice pivot through 12 to 13. You can lose a lot of time through that section. There is a review going on gate 10, but there's no penalty showing at the moment as she comes through 15. So a record in the World Cup this season.
Oh, tied with Jess on the second split.
12th, 16th and 26th. So yeah, she has found time in the middle. She'll just be hoping the outcome of that review is... well, she's done well to get out of the hole like that. She has made the most of it, but that will be time slipping away. Now she needs that review to go in her favour. But it's all gone wrong at the bottom of the course. It's dropping into that stopper. It will have taken a lot of physical energy to get out, won't it?
Yes, for sure. Pulling yourself out of that stopper in particular is definitely a lot of work. So
it's great to hear the crowd. They're all like supporting her, cheering her up to get that gate. But the damage was done on the drop into the hole on the run into 21. And Kimberly Woods is not going to make it through to the final. And that means that Natalia Pasiepnik of Poland will be the next qualifier into 25th place for Kimberly Woods. We'll see her in action tomorrow in the canoe event. And oh, now that's a big mistake at the top of the course. Elena Lillich of Germany, one of the favourites to make it through, probably onto the podium, has got a bit of time loss at the top. We'll have to wait and see how much that has cost her as she ran into gate 5.
Yeah, she definitely came in very low to 5 due to that mistake.
So Elena was the World Championship medalist in 2021. She missed the podium this year. In fact, she was bronze this year at the Worlds. Forgive me. And she has had a really good season so far, but look at that, 5.5 seconds, only she can make that kind of time up. But you know what, if she can find a bit of time, she will have done enough.
Yeah, if she has a good bottom section, although she's losing a little bit still, but if she can pull through the bottom, the time for qualification is 5.7, so.
Yeah, she's made a similar mistake to Kimberly Woods there of Great Britain, and it's not going to be a final for Elena Lillich. And that's a big surprise. A big shock here in Pau is the double World Championship medalist, Elena Lillich, and now she misses 23. That's a 50-second penalty. And it all has gone wrong right from the top of the course.
Yeah, it's quite a shock to see this, but you know, when you have such a big mistake at the top, it's really hard to get back into that good rhythm. So
what is bad news for Germany is good news for Slovenia, because Eva Elina Hočevar, well done, she is through to the final here in Pau. And well, from one German to another, it is the reigning world champion, the reigning Olympic champion, Ricarda Funk on course, and surely you'd expect her to take the charge to Jessica Fox, the race leader.
Definitely, those two have been neck and neck for the last few years, so it's fun to watch them compete.
Well, Ricardo defended her world title just a month ago under huge pressure in front of a home crowd. It must have been such a relief, you know, just the experience in front of the home crowd, but the pressure must have been incredible.
Yeah, the pressure must have been insane, but also winning with a home crowd, there's probably nothing like it, so
yeah,
it's definitely worth it.
So the Olympic and world champion is on track. So it's a second down on the top split. Now we'll get an indication on the second split as to whether she's held on to that kind of margin. Well, she's turned it into a credit. She is ahead. And this is absolutely the required task, but rejected on the whole. She's late. She's going to be low into 21, but it's not a big drama. She's rescued that well.
Yeah, and she's an incredibly speedy paddler, very fast to recover, so if anyone can do it, she can.
A lot of people got caught out on 23. No problems there for Funk of Germany. So looking strong on the last upstream gates. Now in and out of the upstream 25. Well, the time to beat 107.05. It's going to be close to that, but whatever happens, she is into the final. Just outside, into third place. And Ricardo Funk of Germany is into the final. Fox leads ahead of Horn of Italy and Funk of Germany. As with one boat to go, it is all down to whether Victoria Wolfhart, sitting in 10th place, has done enough as we watch the fastest from the heats, Eliska Mintalova for Slovakia, setting off on her semi-final run. So time to beat 113.27, but is that a penalty? Could have been a water splash, but no, it's on gate 8. There is a penalty showing for Eliska Mintalova, 4th at the Olympic Games, European champion. She was joint European champion with Stephanie Horn. They couldn't be separated in that final in Liptovsky Mikuláš earlier on this season. And well, another penalty there. So suddenly, Eliska has a lot of work to do on the bottom.
Definitely a lot to do to catch up, but I think it's still possible if she can keep those lines clean. A lot of people had problems on the last offset, so.
No, you're right, Ria, and I think in terms of Victoria Wolfhart, she's 6.2 down on the race lead time of Jessica Fox. So if Eliska can manage that, which she is at the moment still inside that sort of margin, it's going to be close, but she may yet survive to fight again in the final. Remember, they start from 0, but whoa, close on 23. And the judges will have to decide whether that is a correct negotiation. At the moment, a 50-second penalty awarded. So she's done with the gates. She's now sprinting down the course, but it looks like the 50-second penalty will stand. And Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia, fastest from the heats, will miss out on a place in the final. But her misfortune is the benefit for Victoria Wolfhart of Austria. Let's have a look at the slow-mo here. So the whole head has to go through the gate line. And I think that's, well, it's not the best angle, is it?
Not in it as well.
It's not the best angle, but it looks like the whole head is not in it. And you're right, the boat isn't. But there are the video judges. They have some much better angles. They can look at, you can see that they're looking at one of the angles, but they have a number of different camera angles that they can look at, particularly one that looks straight up the river.
Yeah.
That will help them to determine whether the whole head and whether any of the boat was in the gate line. Well, that's unfortunate. She certainly left it to the judges to decide.
She did, yeah.
So provisionally, Jessica Fox for Australia, Stephanie Horn for Italy, and Ricardo Funk for Germany. The top three, they'll go off in reverse order as the last three boats in the final. Then they'll be joined by Eva Tersel, Emma Vuitton of France, Mayelen Sharova of Spain, Teresa Fisarova of the Czech Republic, Natalia Pasepnik of Poland, Eva Elena Hodjeva of Slovenia, and Victoria Wolfhart of Austria. So the judges still looking at that. But it looks like they've concluded that. Oh, and the penalty has been removed. So let's look at where that puts. No, I think that was it. Well, according to the results, the penalty still stands. So into 28th place for the winner of the heats, Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia. And big disappointment there, you can see, and all that hard work, and just one little error.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good feeling, especially when it's at the end. But that's the sport. Just means someone else gets to go to the final.
Well, that concludes the semi-finals in the women's kayak, and the women's kayak final gets underway. 12 o'clock Central European time, so in just under a couple of hours. Join us live at Planet Canoe, but stay here because very shortly we'll be up with the men's kayak semi-finals. So there we have it, the official results from this women's kayak semi-final, and it is Jessica Fox of Australia. She'll go off last in the final, and we have the 10 boats. Wolfhard, Hochevar, Pasipnik, Vissarova, Chirot, Guidon, Tersel, Funk, Horn and Fox. But some big names missing out, the likes of Elena Lilik, two-time World Championship medal, missing out on the final. Camille Prigent, a big surprise in front of the home crowd. She's had such a great season, but she won't be into the final. Anna Shatila, 3 finals from the first 3 races, but she's not able to back that up here. But we're straight into the men's kayak semi-finals here in Pau. 40 boats raced in the, well, qualified through into this semi-final from the heats. They're racing in reverse order of the performance in those heats. And we are now, well, the fastest here from the heats was Titouan Castric, the junior paddler for France, who's been a sensation over the last couple of seasons. So we'll watch this racing unfold. I'm Andy Maddock, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined in the booth by Lucas Ferro, so welcome.
Hello, thank you very much.
Welcome to the booth, and well, this is going to be an exciting race, and I think one thing's for sure from what we've seen in the women's kayak is it's going to be super tight to determine which 10 boats go through to the final.
Yes, there's some really nice moves over the stoppers, so I think it's going to be a good looking race. Looking forward to see this unfold today.
So we're underway with racing, and the first paddler on the course is Manuel Ochoa of Spain. He gets to set the pace, and well, it's all about risk and reward. It's how much risk are you prepared to take, but you've got to make sure you can deliver it.
Yeah, he's taking a very nice line on the first section of the course, coming into the left upstream and getting over really nicely. Keeping the speed throughout the top of his run, looking pretty composed.
Nicely done through gate 12 and 13. It's quite a tricky move, that, isn't it? Really, to hold the boat speed.
Yeah, I think if you do it nicely, it's really it feels good. But if you get a bit too much edge, it's going to take a lot of power to execute it well. But he's done it really in a good way.
And then down at the bottom part of the course here, there's quite a lot of choice the course designers have set. Do you anticipate seeing much in the way of different lines?
Yeah, I think like most of the girls already showed that it was possible to do it the move forwards before the Kraken move, and I think it's more about the quality of how they're going to do the move, not which if I do the spin or do the direct. I think all the K1s are going to do the direct move.
Yeah, I think that's what we'd expect when we have a plan A, and we've seen, particularly gate 23, has been quite a high-risk move. A lot of people caught out by that. Towards the bottom of the course, the physical elements kicking in, and a little mistake, but an expensive mistake. Well, 103.2, Manuel Ochoa sets the time to beat. It is a clean run, and we'll have to wait and see. What we do know is that it is possible to go under 100 seconds. We saw that with the forerunners, and that's potentially suggests why Manuel was just a little bit disappointed with his time.
Yeah, so we saw, I think, Anatole de la Souze doing 98 this morning, so I think it's going to be under the 100 if you're going to be in the final. And you'll have to do all these moves nicely to be able to do these under these 100 seconds, but I think at least 10 boats will be able to do that today.
Yeah, I would agree. Under 100 seconds, that's what we're going to say, to at least stand a chance of being into the final. Adam Gonsanika of Slovakia now on course, coming down into this middle section of the course, this horseshoe-shaped course. And, well, you can't lose too much time on the middle section, except in that gate 12 section.
Yeah, and he's picked up a touch on gate 12, so yeah, he's got to keep it together. I think he's in the same training group as Eliška Mintalova that we just saw racing going last off before.
Well, he's been given a 50-second penalty on a gate 16. Now, he certainly necked the gate, but it didn't look too bad to me. But I haven't got the best opinion on it. But the judges are reviewing that through the video judges. So at the moment, there is a 50-second penalty showing, but we'll have to see if that gets removed.
Yeah, and you can feel that his run is a bit falling apart. He's not keeping the speed throughout the whole course, so I think he feels that it's not the perfect run, and he has to work hard to bring it down to the bottom.
Yeah, it's going to be outside. Oh, it has had it removed though. The 50-second penalty has come off from gate 16, so that's good news for him. But 104.79, it does include a 2. There was no doubt about the 2-second penalty on gate 12, and 104.79 is the time into second place.
Next off, we have Sam Curtis from Ireland. I think he's been training quite a bit here and in Seoul as well, and it's good to see him in the semi. He's doing a quite solid start, preparing the move of the stopper to the upstream 5 and coming in with a good speed. Getting held back a little bit for the stagger, but he's back to pushing hard and preparing the upstream on the left side, where you have to jump in really late and have a good pre-turn. So you can keep the speed.
Yeah, he had a disappointing World Championships in Augsburg a month ago, but it's great to see the Irish team have had some strong performances across a number of boats over the 2022 season.
Yeah, I think they're putting in a lot of training. Oh, we have a mistake.
He's missed gate 13. He took it on too direct through 12, and there was no way back.
That's what I was thinking about. You know, if it doesn't go smooth with the water, it's a hard move. But if you do it nicely, it's prepared.
Yeah. And well, canoe slalom is hugely satisfying. When you get it right, it just feels superb. But it can be cruel as well. You get the wrong side of the wave. You don't quite get the help you're expecting, and suddenly you're just left in no man's land, and you're kind of out of it. And unfortunately, that's what's happened on this occasion for Sam Curtis, and he hasn't found the run of the water in the middle section, and that 50-second penalty will stand.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I think it's a good performance for him to be in the semi-final here and be able to put a good second run down in qualification. And as we said, the Irish team are going forward really good, and also I think Canoe-Kayak, one of the Hendrick brothers, was in the semi-finals at the World Championships. Yep. We could see one paddlers as well.
And we know the Irish team love Seoul, so we can expect some good things next weekend. So next up on course, it is Liman Huang of the People's Republic of China now setting off on his semi-final run. And then he was 26th at the World Championships, so he made the semi-final at the Worlds. And his performances so far 23rd in Prague, 23rd in Krakow, and then 32nd in Tarzen. So
we haven't seen them too much over the last couple of years, but this year they've been a bit around on the World Cup and on the World Championships with a pretty good level. And yeah, it's nice to see them putting down good runs and being in the semi-final or even in the final, as we saw his teammate at the World.
Yeah, that was really good to see actually two athletes from the Asian continent in the World Championship men's kayak final. It's been a while since we've had that, and the pace was really good.
Here he's getting a little bit stuck before the upstream left after the bridge, and he couldn't take the speed into the upstream, so he had to work hard to get the boat speed back. And as well, again on this stopper, he got a little bit caught up, so this is going to cost a lot of energy that he's going to have to pay for at the end of the race.
So a penalty picked up on 18 as well. 5 seconds down on the split, and that was before that 2-second penalty went on. Another one on 23. So easy, just you get the fatigue at the end. You maybe just chase the line a little bit tight on 21, and then it all tightens up, and you have to take the penalty on 23. But it's still a respectable run. It's clearly got the pace and a name to watch.
Yeah, we'll see what he brings us in the future. I think they found the way how to race the World Cup, so I think we'll see them more.
Well, it's good into third place for Liman Huang of the People's Republic of China. 1:10.55, including 4 seconds of penalty. So next up for New Zealand, Callum Gilbert sets off. Who, well, he can produce some very fast performances, but consistency is what matters.
And that's what we see right away. He's picked up a touch on the down gate number 4 and then fell low on the 5. He's got a very smooth style. He always keeps the boat on top of the water and always does some really nice technical stuff. So.
And it's good to see there's 2 New Zealand paddlers in this men's kayak semi-final. But now 4 seconds down, and he's only halfway down the course. Now, half of that's made up from that penalty, but is that a 50 on 12?
Yeah, I think he went next to the gate and he has to paddle back up to get it. I think he wasn't far enough left when going down the drop to get the gate. So,
yeah, so
this run is going to be over for him, and he just has to paddle down and yeah, make the best out of the rest of the moves that are still nice to do and enjoy the paddling.
Yeah, unfortunately there, so he is able to cancel out the penalty. He missed the gate, but because he hadn't attempted it at all, he goes round and he cancels it out. But the price there, you can see it's paid on the clock. Another penalty on 19, and unfortunately for Callum, his quest will end in the semi-final stage.
You can see that his concentration is gone. He's not doing, he's not really doing the moves properly anymore. And yeah, now you just have to finish the run and arrive at the bottom.
Yeah, and it's tough, isn't it? You make a big mistake in the middle. It's tough holding it together and kind of paddling it out.
That's nice. When you fall out the race plan, and then all is lost.
So it is still Manuel Ochoa of Spain leading the way with 5 boats down, but we've got 35 boats still to go in this men's kayak semi-final here. We're live from Pau in the south of France, and well, straight into our next competitor, Benjamin Pope of Australia. Now, we've just seen Jessica Fox for Australia winning the women's kayak semi-final. She'll go off last in the final.
Now he's dropped a bit low before the gate 5 on the stopper move, but he's getting back and trying to be on top of the water. They've got a very light style, the Australian paddlers. It looks really nice on the water, and when they put down their runs, they're really, really fast at the moment. So we'll see if he can get some time back on the bottom of the course by staying really focused and clean on what he has to do.
Yeah, we've got 3 Australians still coming in this semi-final. Still Tim Anderson and Lucien Delfour to come. So into the business end of the course now. This is where the lactic acid starting to build in those arms. And now Benjamin needing to set up through 18, 19, get ahead on 19 so that he can be ahead of the game on 20. and gets height into 21. Great angle here from the overhead camera, and he's almost too tight.
Yeah, and he's got to work really, really hard to get to the 21, but you see that he lost a lot of speed, and I think physically that was pretty demanding to keep the boat running there, but he's holding it together. We'll see what that will bring when he gets down. You can see that there's some fatigue now, and he's really working hard. And
well, he had to use all of his height there to get his head inside the gate, but it looks like he's done that. It's a clean run, and it's going to challenge for the top three into second place. 104.36, and well, still you can see it's a good run, but it's probably the wrong side of the 100-second barrier, just in terms of actually the caliber of the field still to come.
Yeah, we think it's going to be a little bit faster for the semis, but we haven't really seen this really perfect run yet, so confident that we're going to see this under 100-second run.
Well, on course now, it is Johnny Dixon for Great Britain, first of 3 British paddlers in this men's kayak semi-final here. And well, Johnny has had a strong performance at under 23 level, 2-time medalist, and what can he do? The team has been pretty locked out with some of the established senior boats. This is his opportunity. He's got a World Cup now. What can he do?
Yeah, he's putting together a pretty good top section and keeping the speed also throughout this move at the drop, and yeah, looking pretty good at the approach of the move under the bridge. Normally on the stoppers, the British are really confident, and they can pull out these moves well, so we will see what he will do at the crooks move at the Kraken. He can keep the speed there.
So he's in touch on the halfway split. There is a review on 10 and 11, but no penalties showing at the moment. Now this is the critical section, tight into 21.
Dropped a little bit low, but he kept the speed running, and he was prepared for 22. Oh, there was a touch on 22, so it's going to be really hard to fight for the lead at this race.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? That's a great camera angle, though. It shows just how hard 22, 23 actually is.
And you see that they have to get some space before the gate to really attack and come back.
Yeah. So Johnny Dixon stops the clock, 103.68. So he is quick. It's the quickest raw time we've had, but that 2-second penalty on 22, there was no doubt about that. That could prove costly. There's still a review on 10 and 11, but no penalties showing.
So next up, we've got Finn Butcher from New Zealand. He had COVID after the World Championship, so he's still feeling a bit empty, he told me yesterday, but he was happy to make it through to the semis, and yeah, have another go today at racing.
Well, it's good to see him racing. 18th in the first World Cup, 22nd in the second, didn't do Tartson, and 21st at the World Championships a month ago. But he's looking very smooth and solid. When he gets his groove, he's very quick.
Yeah. We saw him as well on the ICF race in Augsburg, where he took a medal, and yeah, if everything works well out for him, he's really, really fast on this day.
Well, that's where his compatriot Callum Gilbert had problems, 12 and 13, but no problems there for Finn Butcher as he comes under the bridge and into the final section of the course.
Keeping the speed nicely on the stopper and up into the upstream, and I think that did not cost too much energy, so we'll see how he'll do the bottom move at the Kraken. He's in front on the split, so we're looking for a really promising run.
This is good stuff from Finn Butcher of New Zealand. Beautifully done through the move on 20 to 21. Almost got stuck in the stopper, but he got the right side there.
And it looked pretty composed, you know, he didn't use too much energy to do it, and yeah, he's holding this run nicely together to still be able to put in the speed when he needs to.
Well, 103.20 is the time to beat, but he's really racing the people still to come. So now he's just got to dig deep, get that boat running, and see if he can break under 100 seconds. It's going to be close.
Yeah,
it is inside. Wow, Finn Butcher, well done for New Zealand. Puts the marker down, and he goes into the race lead by over 3 seconds.
Yeah, that was a really nice run. You could see he was going with the water, not pushing too hard. Being with the speed that he needed to in the places where it was important.
Well, we'll see how that stacks up in a bit. But Finn Butcher leads ahead of Manuel Ochoa of Spain and Johnny Dixon of Great Britain. That's the top three as we watch Juan Crespo now for Spain, two-time World Championship medalist, and well, very capable of putting a big run here.
He's already got picked up a touch at gate 5 on the first upstream gate, and yeah, that's going to put him not into the best position for the rest of the race, but you can see that he's faster on the split than Finn was, so we'll see what he puts together on the bottom.
It's interesting, he's not had a great season so far, he's not had the consistency. Finished the 2 World Cups that he's done, he's finished in 40th place and 38th place, so that suggests that he's kind of gone for a big move, and it's not happened for him.
I think he had an injury in spring and was not able to train to his normal volume, so it's hard to say how good he is at the moment, but for sure next week in Laseu we will see him. Yeah, he's nearly always in the final when we race there. So.
And of course we'll be there live at Planet Canoe next weekend, the World Cup final, double points up for grabs, and yeah, we can expect the Spanish team to be super strong on their home course. And well, Crespo still in touch.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job on the last 2 upstreams, keeping the speed and having a short exit, and now pushing hard to the finish line. So we'll see what that brings.
He has been given a late penalty on 23, but it is being reviewed at the moment. 104.17 into 4th place, and well, again, he thinks he's only got 1 touch there. He's just making it quite clear.
Next up we have the young Canadian Alex Baldoni. I think he grew up in Pau, so he's French and Canadian citizen, and yeah, still a pretty young paddler, and it's cool to see him do his I think even semi-final debut in the World Cup here in Pau, on his place he learned to paddle.
Well, it's good to see. There's a lot. This season has been there's been a lot of young paddlers who've certainly started to threaten the senior ranks, the established paddlers. He's got a 2-second penalty on gate 7 early on. Very nice on the upstream gate 9.
And what is really good about him is that he's also paddling in C1, and I think he also did the semi-final in C1. So very complete paddler in both categories in slalom.
And that's quite unusual in the men's events.
Yeah, we haven't had too many who are able to do that, so to see some young guys coming and doing that is really impressive.
And you know, the likes of Miguel Trave, who is another athlete who's kind of able to do that, and he'll be up in the kayak event shortly.
It's a little bit off pace of the time of Finn Butcher, and we see 2-second penalties, now 3 already confirmed, so it's all about finishing this run and enjoying the atmosphere. You can hear he's getting pushed on a lot by the spectators.
The World Cups are great learning opportunities for the athletes as they kind of develop and make that transition from good under-23 athletes to being good senior athletes. And this is a great experience. He won't progress to the final, but he'll have a huge amount of learning to take forward.
Yeah, for sure. Always, normally the course is a bit harder, and in qualifications, yeah, it's just another race than with everybody in. If you only have 40 and you're going for the 10, yeah, I think he'll take away a lot from that and maybe already be able to put it in tomorrow in his C1 semi-final run. Yeah,
good point. So into 7th place for Alex Baldoni of Canada. That's on course now. Haija Yu of the People's Republic of China sets off now into the upstream gate 5. Beautiful kick from the hole into 5.
Yeah, I think it's the second of the Chinese that we are seeing today in the semi, and we'll have a third one going on. A very strong style, keeping his boat always moving forward and being on top of the water. There's a touch shown at gate 9. I didn't really see it, but not going to make it easier now.
So 30th place in Prague, the first World Cup of the season, and then missed the semi-finals at the other competitions that he's been a part of this season. And it's all about restarting your season. The World Championships has been a bit of a break. Everyone's had a bit of a chance to just refresh mentally and physically. And a big line error on 18. If he gets back for 18, that'll be good, but he's then got to reset and make sure he holds on for 1920. He's late still through the sequence, and well, it does amazingly.
It just
but
goes on. You know, if you're late at one point in a stagger, you're gonna be late through all the stagger, and that's what we really saw it here.
Yeah, that hurts through that move. He's done well, but yeah, big time loss. Did well to keep it clean though.
Yeah, at least that is a positive point.
Yeah, from that position on gate 18, then he did well to rescue it, but we'll see when he crosses the finish line that 4-second deficit on the second split will have grown significantly. Look at that, over 11 seconds. And it's not going to be for you of the People's Republic of China. And settling in for 9th place at the moment.
So next up is my teammate, Gelindo Chiarello. He's moved to Po 2 years ago, so he's really keen to show what he's learned here. And yeah, he's together in the training group with Martin Dugu that we will see later, and they're doing good work here on the course. So.
Yeah, Martin's had some strong performances this season. He had a medal in the first race of the World Cup season. We'll see him later on. I think he finished something like 7th in the heat. So
second, I think. Yeah.
Second?
Yeah.
Apologies. I knew he was in the top 10, so well, we'll have a little bit longer to wait for him.
But now the start is quite okay from Gelindo. Normally he's really fast on the top section and then gets a bit slower at the bottom, but today he's, I'd say, on a good pace at the top, so I hope he can hold this together and really showcase what he can do. This has been a really nice move over the stopper, keeping the speed in the upstream gate and setting up for the big stagger to come in front of the Kraken.
Well, he's still in touch. He's closed that deficit, and we know Finn Butcher wasn't. It was the bottom section that Finn was at his strongest, so he's in touch for a place in the top 3 early on.
Yeah, here he has to work a little bit harder, coming a little bit low on the upstream gate, but getting his composure back, and now going to attack the 2 last upstream gates. And it looks like a good run from Gelindo on one stroke, getting out really nicely, and yeah, now he's got to pull really hard till the finish line. We'll see if this is going to be able to challenge the time of Finn.
It's going to be close, it's going to be just outside, but it is good enough for 2nd place. So Gelindo Chiarello of Switzerland, yeah, he knows there's still a bit out there.
Yeah, I think last year he came 14th in this race, so he really wanted to go to the final today, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the field will perform.
I think it's certainly going to be top 20, isn't it? We'll just have to wait and see.
Around 15.
So Mario Leitner now for Austria. Super Mario heads off, comes into gate 5.
Yeah, he's really in good form at the moment. He's done a good race at the World Championships. Just missed out closely on the final, and but done some finals in the World Cup. I think in Prague as well.
Prague
yeah.
and Tarsen, 7th in Prague, 8th in Tarsen.
Yeah, he's in good shape together with Felix. They're a nice training group and always have fun on the water. You can see that.
Yeah, I imagine that's a very competitive group, isn't it? The 3 of them in the Austrian team, all really pushing each other hard, particularly him and Felix. And how important is it to have a quick training partner? Because it does seem to be really influential on just helping you to almost find the time without having to do so much hard work.
Yeah, it just challenges you every day, and you see straight away if what you are doing is fast enough or not. Yeah, but sometimes you also have to look for yourself and not always what the other guys are doing. So I think you have to find the right balance between always having a good training partner and yeah, also looking for yourself in some important way.
Well, it's a solid run coming together for Mario Leitner, still in touch with Finn Butcher and still threatening to take the race lead here. It's all down to the last upstream gate. He's done a clean run, and now he's just got to dig deep, keep that boat running, and he's going to be close but outside, and he does go into 3rd place, so he goes in behind Gelindo Chiarello of Switzerland and into 3rd place for now. So with 13 boats down in this 40-boat men's kayak semi-final, Finn Butcher leads for New Zealand ahead of Gelindo Chiarello of Switzerland, Mario Leitner of Austria. That's now Martin Srabotnik of Slovenia sets off on his semi-final run.
As always, the Slovenians with a very smooth style. We saw him, very nice upstream 5. He took the stopper and pushed him really into the upstream gate with a lot of speed and without using too much power. And now he's just using his long strokes to get to the next upstream gate.
Well, it was no surprise to have a Slovenian on the podium in the World Cup in Tarsen, but everyone expected it to be Peter Kauser, but it was actually Martin took second place, the silver medal in that event, so really performed superbly in that race. 25th in Augsburg, you'll be a bit disappointed with that, but now the opportunity to really kickstart the second part of the season, and 0.44 up is a good way of doing that.
Yeah, and he looks really calm and keeping his boat running all the time. You can see he's got 2.29 advantage on Finn, so this run looks like a really good run. Not using too much energy, but yeah, being able to keep the boat speed where it's important.
It's interesting, isn't it? It didn't look like he did anything particularly special other than he just running the boat nicely.
He did a really great move at the drop before the bridge, where he did a really straight line and kept a lot of speed compared to the other paddlers, so maybe that was the difference.
Well, he's taking some risks at the bottom. Gate 20 is being reviewed, but at the moment, no penalty showing. Same at 25, no penalty showing, and look at that, 95.35. And it is a provisional result, but well done to Martin Srabotnik of Slovenia, provisionally into the race lead by a significant margin.
Yeah, this was definitely a benchmark the others will have to look at, and yeah, as we said, under the 100 seconds, you've got to be at least for the final.
So we'll keep an eye on that, the outcome of the reviews, but let's turn our attention to the top of the course, because it is Marcello Beda of Italy, World Championship silver medalist from Bratislava 12 months ago.
Yeah, he's dropping a bit low before the upstream gate 5, but at least he's keeping the speed, and now he's back on track, attacking the staggers and going for the upstream left.
You certainly expect an attacking style from the Italian men's kayaks, and well, he's in touch, 0.65, and bearing in mind that's against Srabotnik of Slovenia, who's just set a blistering pace down the course.
He's being a bit late on this line here, but he was able to hold it together and keep the speed throughout the stagger, setting up for the move under the bridge, taking the speed over, and yeah, getting a good exit. Now he's preparing the last move over the next move over the Kraken. We see him jump in high, but being a little bit late there and getting a touch and having to put the boat back up. Yeah. You see the run is falling apart now a bit, but he'll fight till the end.
Yeah, you're right. You just see that he's lost the forward boat speed, hasn't he? He's lost momentum, and so it'll be hurting him on the clock. And although he has the advantage on the second, from the second split, he's only a little bit down.
Oh, really?
It's going to be a lot to ask, though, on the finish there, to be in contention to take even the top, well, second place.
You know what? Srabotnik, he's got a 50, so we're back on Finn Butcher's time.
So you're right, good spot. So let's bring you up to date. So Srabotnik was given the 50 on gate 25. It was the last upstream gate. So if you remember, they were reviewing gate...
I don't remember. I always thought it was a downstream gate.
I think it was gate 20, and it's 25. He certainly took a tight line, and he's been given a 50. So Finn Butcher is leading the race for New Zealand, 99.80, and into 8th place was Marcello Beda. So the time really did slip away for the Italian. But it shows that time from Srabotnik just shows the kind of time that is available, but you've got to take some risks to get it.
Yeah, and you've got to hold it together till the end. We'll see maybe some of the French doing it. But now we have a good run from Martin Halcin from Slovakia, who's done the first part of the course in a nice way, and he's up on the split of Finn Butcher. Looks pretty solid. He's setting up the course under the bridge and taking over the speed, getting a nice exit from the upstream gate there.
Yeah, he's yet to make a final this year at the World Cup or the World Championships, and that's a surprise. When he gets it together, he's very quick, but he's extended the advantage. So is this his opportunity? But, that looks sticky running into 21.
He has to work really, really hard. I'm not sure, but I heard he had a shoulder injury in winter, and that's why he was searching his form a bit in the beginning of the season. Now we see a touch at the review on that. Maybe they're going to think it's a 50.
They've given him a 2-second penalty on gate 23 as part of that review. It's only just gone on. So now crosses the line. It's close into 4th place. So another time that's under 100 seconds. But at the moment, 2-second penalty on 23. And just still a provisional result. The review judges just looking at various angles. I think it was gate 10 and gate 23. But provisionally sitting in 4th place. So Butcher still leading for New Zealand as we watch Pedro Goncalves of Brazil. Pepe on course. Had a bit of a nightmare run into the World Championships, picking up COVID. And not the ideal preparation. Let's hope he's fully recovered now. And he's had a good season. He started off the season with a final, 10th place in Prague. Of course, he was a finalist at the Rio Olympic Games, finished in 6th in that men's kayak final.
Yeah, and he's putting together a decent start. You can see he's up on Finn's split, so he's attacking the move now at the drop before the bridge, and doing that really smoothly. We'll see how he'll do the move under the bridge. Coming good on the stopper. Getting a 2-second penalty on gate 16 and a review on the upstream 16 as well.
Yeah, unfortunately he's got 2 touches, so 15 and 16, but both are being reviewed, but at the moment 2-second penalties showing on those. Now coming through gate 20. He's done that very nicely, very composed indeed. And Goncalves of Brazil coming down through 22. He's cutting it fine on 23, but no penalty picked up there. But you can see 4 seconds now the deficit, and that's all down to those penalties on gate 15 and 16. He's now just got to dig deep, and it seems such a long sprint finish here.
Yeah, that's going to be well out of the contention for the final.
So disappointment there for Pepe Goncalves of Brazil. And yeah, that's not going to be in contention, already outside the top 10 as we get towards the halfway stage in this men's kayak semi-final. We're live from Pau in the foothills of the French Pyrenees. Myself, Adi Maddock, and then alongside me, Lucas Verro of the Swiss team. As we still have the fastest 20-odd boats from yesterday's heats to go and determine who will go in that 10-boat final. Later on today, that starts 12 o'clock Central European time with the women's kayak final, and then followed by the men's kayak final.
Now, of course, we have Tim Bremer from Germany, one of the younger under-23 athletes from the German team. And as Hannes Eigner, he's sitting out this race, not racing. Tim, he got awarded the spot to try his chance at the World Cup. I think it must be his first World Cup race, so it's good to see him in the semi-final. We already saw him at the under-23 European champs doing, I think, 5th place, a pretty decent final run, and yeah, going up to the big stage now and doing a World Cup race for the first time.
Yeah, you're right, he was 5th, so another emerging name, and like so many teams, the up-and-coming athletes, it's quite hard to break into the senior team, and when you get given an opportunity like this, you've got to seize it and show that you can use that opportunity and make the most of it.
Yeah, and especially in the German team, it's not that easy to get in. They always have their pretty tough team trials in Augsburg and Leipzig, and yeah, it's hard to beat the old guys and get a spot.
Well, it's a good run coming together. A little bit down on Butcher's time on the second split. It's going to be close to the 100 seconds, just outside and into 6th place. So already it's really quite tight at the top. 2.5 seconds there separating the top 6 competitors, and we know there is a fast time very much still to be had. We've seen a 95 in a bit, albeit it had a 50-second penalty within it. So here is a name to watch, Xin Quan of the People's Republic of China, World Championship finalist. And, well, he really set the pace in that semi-final in Augsburg. Can he do it here? Well, he's low in gate 5. So easy to do that on that move.
Yeah, sometimes the stopper, it flushes you out a bit and you don't get the push you were looking for. And that's what just happened to him here. But I really like his style. He looks really strong, but still is able to transmit it onto the water and always be on top of the water. And that, I think, looks really nice to me.
Finished 17th at the Tokyo Olympic Games last year. And again, he just seems to be very good at throwing the boat around and keeping the run on the boat. And that's certainly what he did so well in Augsburg, where he finished 7th for the world.
Now he's getting a little bit stuck on the tail on the cross of the stopper, but he's staying composed behind and setting up the next move. So yeah, he's still really in touch with the split from Finn Butcher. We'll see what he'll do on the Kraken. Yes, keeping the boat flat. Now he has to work a bit harder to get over to the upstream gate, but it's keeping the speed, so that looks good.
Well, this could well challenge the race lead time. It's certainly going to challenge a place in the top 3 as we approach the halfway point in this men's kayak semi-final. He's good on 24 now. He can take a high-risk move on 25. He doesn't do that. Stays more conventional. Now he's got to dig in. So 99.80 is the time to beat. He's going to be outside of that, but it's a good time into 3rd place for Xin Quan of the People's Republic of China. So Butcher still leading for New Zealand ahead of Chiarello of Switzerland, and now Quan of the People's Republic of China.
Next up we have Dariusz Popiela from Poland. He's been around for quite a while. I think he's even done the Olympics already back in 2008, let's say.
I think you're right, yes.
And really a nice guy, always really friendly and up for a chat.
So he's made finals at pretty much every competition: Olympic Games, World Championships, World Cup, European Championships, and he's certainly capable on his day. I don't think he's been training in the same intensity that he used to be, but you'd never rule him out.
Yeah, I don't know. Always when I see him, he's full on, so looks like he's training a lot. So. But he's changed boat. He's paddling Vida for years now, and now he's on Galasport. So he said in winter I have to try this out to see maybe I can get even better with that. Yeah.
Well, he was in touch in the first split. A little bit sticky there, running into 16, but he looks like he's managed to minimise any time lost there. We'll get an indication as he comes through gate 18 as to where he stacks up on the split. And he's still in touch as he comes into the final section of the course. But this is ultimately the toughest part of this course.
He's staying very calm here on the Kraken move and keeping the speed up into the upstream right. Going for the exit, preparing the last stagger. And then he'll be able to pull hard again for the last 2 upstream gates.
Well, we can expect him physically to be good on the bottom section. He's a very strong paddler. Takes the risk on 25 now. He's got to launch it. Will it be enough to get into the race lead? It's not going to be enough. Time has slipped away at the bottom, but Popiela for Poland goes into 8th place, and wow, the time slips away at the bottom.
Yeah, and he got a penalty as well, so it was 100 plus 2, so that was actually a really good run.
Yeah, a late penalty, 22. That was the where the penalty was awarded, and well, that could well prove very costly in terms of his aspirations for a place in today's final. As we watch Gabriel da Costa now for Belgium, Olympian, and another up-and-coming athlete throwing the boat around at the top of the course and doing it quite successfully, but a 2-second penalty on gate 4.
Yeah, I didn't see the touch, but Gabriel is really coming to form and getting better every year now. It's good to see the Belgian team coming back with not only one good paddler, but I think there's a young crew that's building up again, and yeah, it's nice to see them around and always training hard and having fun racing.
He made the under-23 European Championship final this season, finished 10th in that final, and had a disappointing World Championships. He finished 80th at the World Championships, but that's not really a reflection of what he's capable of as he comes down into Gate 18. So 1.7 down on race leader Finn Butcher of New Zealand, who's looking more and more likely to progress into the final.
Dropping a little bit low here after the truck move. He's got to hold it together for the last couple of gates now. Keep the speed he's having on the run. Maybe it's going to be enough to challenge Finn.
Wow, he wraps himself around 24. One more gate to go. This 25-gate course is a physically demanding course, and then even when you've done all the gates, you've still got to get this sprint finish, and you can lose time on the sprint, can't you?
If you don't really jump perfectly on the wave on the right side, you can lose a lot of speed there for nothing.
You do all the hard work on the gates, and then it slips away at the bottom, but into second place, so credit there for Gabriel da Costa for Belgium, 100.60. There is an asterisk against his name, so that's still a provisional result, but a good start there. Now, on course, Ondřej Tunka of the Czech Republic, the world champion on this course from 2017, and he pins Gate 5.
Yeah, that looks like a really, really nice start to his run. He's part of the strongest team, I'd say, in the K1 men field with the Czech team, and he's definitely owning the spot there as well and showing us how it's done.
He's up on the top section. He's certainly fighting hard. Now, he's had a couple of seasons where it was difficult to make it into the Czech team, even for an athlete of his caliber. But he's had a good season so far, and his World Cup standings, 22nd in Prague. He'd be disappointed with that. Then he was 5th in Krakow, 15th in Tarzen, and then 21st at the World Championships. So
we can see him up on the split now before the Kraken move. He's just being very smooth on his lines and keeping the speed all through the stagger moves.
Well, that's nice on 20 to 21, isn't it?
Yeah, like really good keeping the speed, and now being in the... Well, I think there's a touch on the gate 23. We'll see if he's fast enough to still be able to challenge Finn.
Yeah, he keeps the boat very flat, doesn't he? Really works hard, delivers the power. So I think he's still going to challenge the race lead, even with that 2-second penalty. And it's going to be just outside, 99.7. It's just inside. Ondřej Tunka goes into the race lead with a touch. And, well, again, shows there is time in this course.
Next up we have Noah Hege from Germany, also one of the younger paddlers who was able to establish himself in the German team, and we saw him really in form last year here at the World Cup race in Po and also in Seoul, where he made 2 finals. So I think,
and he made the final at the World Championships last year as well, so that was really strong. Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a hot contender for this race. Getting a bit pushed around on the exit, and now he just has to get back on track and build up some speed for the next move. Coming in really tight on the left upstream gate and crossing over, keeping the boat flat. But you see he's already lost some time on Ondřej Tunka.
So no penalties showing at the moment. There is a review on gate 9. That's fairly routine whenever the gate potentially looks a little bit marginal. And now coming down into the bottom section of the course, into the upstream 16, super tight. That's good. We'll get an indication now as he comes through 17, then 18. That's where we'll get the second split. And he is still in touch. Remember, the time is against Ondřej Tunka. And of course, Tunka picked up his penalty at the bottom of the course. So it's still very much on for Hager to take the race lead, but that's scrappy on 21.
Yeah, he has to work really hard to get back to the upstream gate, but he's done it nicely, and he's got to attack the 2 last upstream gates. That he has done really well.
Supreme on 24, in and out 25. It's a good run for the German paddler Noah Hege of Germany. It's going to be outside the race lead time, and is it into the 6th place, that's just how tight it is. Look at that, 1.41 seconds down, and 6th place. It's a tight old battle here, and we are still with, I think it is 17 boats to go in this men's kayak semi-final.
Yeah, so I think the bubble for the semi-final is gonna, for the final is going to be around this 100 or just under 100, and a lot of people are able to do these runs now.
Well, here's a name to watch, Boris Neveu of France, world champion on 2 occasions, 2014 and then last year 2021. He's well, always in the mix, isn't he?
Yeah, and especially in Pau, he just lives around the corner from the course here, comes by bike, and yeah, so he will be able to fight back, even if his start of the race was not perfect. I think he will be able to squeeze out some time at the bottom and yeah, do a solid run that will bring him to the final.
So he's 2-time world champion, and he took a bronze medal at the Augsburg World Championships a month ago. 7th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games last year.
Yeah. You can see he's building up into his run, he's keeping the speed, he's always on top of the water, and now he's even in front at the split time, at the second split. There's a move he might have done hundreds of times already, but he gets a little bit stuck. Still keeps the speed up to the right upstream 21. Setting up for 22, 23, staying composed, and you can hear the crowd cheering him on to bring it down to the finish line.
Well, you can hear the crowd noise go up a notch when he went into the virtual race lead, when he got that advantage. I think he's not going to take the race lead with this time, but it's still a respectable run. Boris Neveu now sprinting and stops the clock. 6th place again. It's super tight now, and he knows that's going to be a tough position to progress into the final from there, with 16 boats to go, lying in 6th place. Only 10 spots in that final. As we watch now, for Germany, Stefan Hengst goes for a place in the final.
Yeah, he's just told me he's had some time off to clear his head after the World Championships, and yeah, it's just now back on the water and enjoying paddling and racing.
So what did you get up to in the month since the World Championships? Have you been training hard, or have you been kind of just having a little bit of a recovery before this second part of the season?
Rather a big recovery, I'd say. I had 2 weeks off, yeah, a lot of hiking and mountain biking and doing other stuff. Maybe a bit too much if I look at the results. But yeah, Stefan is doing, yeah, he's losing some time at the top, but the middle part looks more and more composed again. Setting up the move under the bridge over the stopper, but you can see not the biggest speed into the upstream bait on the left there.
So a lot of work to do for Hengst of Germany. We'll get an indication on the split, 2.82. So it's grown slightly, that deficit, and at the moment that would put him outside the top 10. So it's got to be something special on this move. Well, that's pretty tight. He's certainly not lost any time.
Yeah, the line is looking quite good. It's more, I don't know if the speed is really there at the moment.
Stefan picked up an Extreme World Championship medal in Augsburg in Germany. And of course, we'll have the Extreme Kayak competition. We have the time trials and the heats tonight, and then tomorrow we'll be live with the head-to-head racing in that Extreme at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, Central European time. But it is only 13th place for Stefan Hengst of Germany. A clean run, just the wrong side of the the margins.
Next up we have Peter Pauser, someone you don't really have to introduce, I think. Always putting on the great show in Pau. You can see him keeping his boat speed around the whole course and always doing something special.
Well, Peter Kauser, yeah, in the World Cup has been super consistent, not just this season, but over the last couple of seasons, because he's actually not, he's made all the World Cup finals since 2020.
Really?
So all the World Cup finals last season and so far this season, and he's on track to do that again. 0.4 up on the top. He won the first World Cup of the season this year in Prague, then he was 8th in Krakow, fourth on his home course in Tarzen. And at the moment, he is in the top 3 in terms of the World Cup standings.
Dropping a bit low on upstream gate 16, but we saw he was up on the first split, so maybe he will able to keep this run together. He's lost some time now, but I think he's going to do a very good move on the Kraken. You see him being composed here and really working his inside edge to keep the speed. That looked quite nicely. Going for a rather short exit here.
Certainly high risk. Oh, it's high risk, and he pays the price. Good observation. He was going for the tight line, and it hasn't worked for Peter. So his record of straight finals is over, and disappointment here for Peter Kauser. And well, there was no way back from that.
No. Too bad. It looked really as if he was coming back into his run and being able to bring it down to the bottom, and then it's Canoe Slalom that happened so fast you fall over.
So another person who falls victim to gate 23, what looks like a very easy gate, but when you look at it from the right angle, you can really see just how you've got to respect it. So next up for Austria, it is Felix Oschmalz, who you can expect him to be setting a quick time, 4th at the Olympic Games with a paddle back in Tokyo last year. He certainly set that final alight, and he's already been on the podium at the European Championships earlier on this season, and not such a good record actually in the World Cup season this season. 6th in Augsburg, but did he have any boats in that gate?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's confirmed right away that he's got a 50-second penalty. Too bad. I think he made the final here last year at the World Cup. But yeah, this year it's not going to be a final.
So it is being reviewed. That'll be just looking at all the other available camera angles to make sure the correct penalty is awarded. But he certainly asked the question. The judges gave him their opinion, and that opinion is a 50-second penalty.
Yeah, and he picks up another touch here before the Kraken move. But still, his raw speed is really good. You can see the boat is always moving smoothly forward, and his split times are actually quite good. So the raw speed for sure is here. Just you have to keep it clean as well. Maybe we will see what the judges will say, but at the moment it looks more like a 50.
It's only been given a 50 at the moment, so it's the judges need to be convinced that it's the wrong decision when they look at it from a video review. But 24th place, and well,
yeah, the raw time is really good.
97.05 raw time, and it wasn't the perfect run by any means. So unfortunately, not to be for Felix Oschmalz of Austria, but Andre Tunka still leading for the Czech Republic, ahead of Finn Butcher of New Zealand and Gabriel da Costa of Belgium, with 13 boats still to go. So it's not long before we start to confirm our finalists for the final later on today, as we watch Michal Pasiut of Poland on course.
Yeah, dropping a bit low on the move up to the upstream gate 5, but keeping the speed and getting back on track for the staggers and the next upstream gate. He's always got quite a smooth style, I'd say, always keeping the boat running forward. And now he's got 1 second adrift from the first split time, which is pretty obvious at his first part of the course.
And he's picked up a penalty on gate 13, just the slightest of touches on the pole, just sneaked in the gate line. And yet to make a final this season in World Cup or World Championship competition. Got very close to his home water in Krakow, finishing in 11th place. That's his best World Cup result so far. He's looking good through, well, he's late on 20.
Yeah, he was behind the Kraken move, so he got low in the upstream 21 and has to work back, so this run is slipped away from him.
So course designers, Anthony Collin and Irati Goikachen, have set a good challenge for the athletes.
Yeah, I like the way they use the staggers in the third quarter of the course, and also some moves over the stopper. I think that's a must on a course like this here in Pau.
Yeah, and Michał Pasiuk of Poland only into 21st place. Penalties just proving costly, and there's no margin as we look at the leaderboard at the moment. The top 10, 2.5 seconds, and certainly even the top 8, it's 1.7 seconds. So even one penalty and you could be well out of the game. But let's turn our attention to Matiz Saudi at the moment for Morocco, coming in and out of the upstream gate 5.
He's got a very nice and light style. Still a pretty young paddler, I think 22 years old. He's already raced at the Olympics, so he's got quite some nice experience already on the elite racing.
He finished in the final last year in the World Cup here in Pau, so certainly has obviously got some pace, but he's just picked up a penalty on the downstream gate 12. He was 4th at the Under-23 World Championships in Ivrea, so he's clearly got the pace.
Dropping a bit low now on the upstream under the bridge, but we'll see if he can make some time back on the bottom of the course here. The boat is turning a bit too much and he's not tracking forward anymore, so losing more and more speed. Getting stuck now on the stopper a little bit. He has to work hard to get over, but he's not letting this run fall apart.
Well,
he's working hard to the finish.
He's done well on 23 because he made a mistake, but he did manage to stay off the pole and not pick up a penalty there. Certainly taking some risk on 24, out of 25, but the time is the wrong side of 100 seconds. And he's going to cross the line at 106.45. That includes a 4-second penalty, one touch on 12 and a touch on 22. I didn't see the touch on 22, but well, it's the wrong side and it's into 20th place. So we're getting towards the determination of our 10 finalists, and Ondrej Tunka still leading for the Czech Republic ahead of Finn Butcher and Gabriel Da Costa, as we watch the world champion Vit Prindiš of the Czech Republic, who won here last year.
Yeah, and he's doing a very, very nice start to his race now. He took a lot of speed from the stopper to get into the upstream number 5, and he's put a great first section together now.
He's taking some risks at the top, but you expect that with Vits. He's always tight on the poles, and he's the reigning World Cup champion, so looking to defend his title. He's at the moment lying 3rd in the overall standings, so the next 2 weekends will be critical to determining whether he defends his title. Wow, a 2-second penalty there.
I think he just 15. Hit it with his ball. No?
Yeah, it's just fine margins, but suddenly 3.5 seconds down as he comes into gate 19, and he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, also dropping a bit low here on the Kraken move. Has to work hard to get back up.
So are we looking at another shock exit? We've already seen Peter Kauser for Slovenia not progressing through into the final, and now the world champion Vit Prindiš, the winner of last year's World Cup here and the reigning World Cup champion, is going to have to do a lot, but he is certainly coming back at it. He's going to challenge, but it's going to be the wrong side of the 10th, and into 12th place, 102.59, and the world champion will not be in the final. So that's a big shock still. Tunka leads, Butcher 2nd, Da Costa 3rd, as we watch Ben Haylett for Great Britain setting off on his semi-final quest to make it into the final. He's been consistent in making finals at under 23 level, and now what can he do here?
Yeah, he's done a nice start of the race, trying to cut under the gate number 4 to go as direct as possible to gate number 5, and that looked quite good.
So he was 7th at the Under-23 Worlds. Oh, he's Well, he's done well to get the bows down there, but the judges will probably review that just to check his whole head and boat were inside the gate line.
Yeah, also going for a tight line on the drop now there.
So now down into the main business end of the course. This is where the main crowd is here in this Pau Whitewater Stadium. Now the second split will tell us where he's at. 1.88, so still in the mix.
I'm doing it nicely here on the truck move. Getting a bit low in the end, but definitely could keep some speed up over the hole. Attacking the 2 last downstream gates.
So 2 gates to go. 24 and 25. He's kept it clean so far, but a 50-second penalty, just as I speak, has been awarded on gate 10.
Yeah, we were already thinking about that. It looked not too good for him.
So it's a really quick run. Raw time 100.20, but the 50-second penalty has been awarded. I don't think he agrees with that, but
we'll have to check the video.
That's what the judges have given. So Ben Haylett has to settle for 28th place, but a good raw time there as we watch Joe Clark, the Olympic champion from Rio 2016 for Great Britain. He goes. Now he's had an up and down season so far in terms of this World Cup season. Started off on the podium, sorry, 33rd, then 2nd, then 16th in Tartan. So at the moment he is lying in 8th place in the overall World Cup standings.
Yeah, he's doing a good first section. As you can see, he's just 0.06 down on the split. And I think Joe's one of the guys with the fastest raw speed, I would say. So he's definitely going to be able to hold this together for the bottom, setting up the move under the bridge and taking a lot of speed over and out of the upstream gate, setting up for the next stagger move.
He just missed the final at the World Championships in Augsburg, so he'll be looking to get his season back on track. And he's still very much in touch, and that looks a good line through 20 into 21.
Yeah, he's doing that nicely, not using too much power to go over, but letting the boat do the work.
Oh, he's late.
He's late there, yeah.
Oh, and he's 50.23. And he has 50 that gate. And, well, he was forced into the spin, wasn't he? He lost sight of the pole. And the pole didn't go the right side of his head. So another shock exit here. We've already seen the world champion go out, Fit Prindish. We've seen Peter Kauser go out, and now we've seen Joe Clark go out. So that means, though, Andre Tunke and Finn Butcher, well done. You are into the final. Here we see it, good slow-mo. He goes for the, well, he has to spin, and then he just loses sight of the pole, and it goes the wrong side of his head. No doubt about it, unfortunately for him.
No final today. Yeah, as we see, the 100 is going to be enough for the final maybe today.
Yeah, at the moment, 99.8 is, and then sitting on the bubble, 100.6. Gabriel da Costa is waiting to see as we watch Miguel Trave of Spain set off on his quest for a place in this Pau World Cup final. Super tight competition for places, 40 boats racing in this men's kayak semi-final for just 10 places. And we get underway with the final, 12 o'clock Central European time, live at Planet Canoe today. The women's kayak and then the men's kayak final.
Miguel, who's a very light paddler, is always on top of the water, very technical style, and cool thing about him is that he's not only one of the best K1 paddlers, but also in C1. I think he's already done some World Cup medals.
Yes, he has. He's not raced that much in terms of the World Cup this season, but he's certainly had strong under-23 performances this season. Disappointing 22nd at the World Championships.
And this is a great run coming together. Yeah, he's kept the pace throughout the run. Nothing too crazy, but always keeping the speed.
And he goes into the race lead. Look at that, he turns a little bit of a deficit into an advantage right at the end. And there we see him sneaking the exit on the last upstream gate. And he knows it. Well done, Miguel. You're in the final.
Next up we have Canoe-Kayak from France. He knows this course really well, and he'll be really looking to also make to join Miguel in the final, doing a good top section. Just dropping a little bit low on gate number 5, but he tries to keep the speed and stay calm on the following gate.
Yeah, we see Boris Naveau, compatriot, still sitting in 7th place, so isn't out of it yet, but he's going to be up against it. But here, Canoe-Kayak coming down, he's just a little bit down on the split from race leader Miguel Trave, leading ahead of Andre Tunker and Finn Butcher. Those three all qualified into the final. 7 boats to finish in this men's kayak semi-final.
He's really good on this stopper, keeping the speed over and out of the upstream gate as well. Always keeping the boat flat. Now setting up for the important move before the Kraken. Turning up high and being ready, pushing the Kraken. He has to work a little bit hard to get over. Looks good.
He's certainly putting in a solid run here. He's through that risky section, 22-23, without any issues at all. So it's down to the last 2 upstream gates. 24. Now, will he take a high-risk move on 25? Well, he certainly sneaks in on the exit now. Let's see. The time to beat for automatic qualification, 100.60. He's going to be outside of that and outside of the final.
Yeah, it slipped away at the bottom.
Yeah.
He was on course up to the 2nd section, and I think he drifted away a bit in the last upstream gate, which might have cost some time as well.
So you can see fine margins here, but that's good news for Gabriel da Costa, who is into the final for Belgium. So let's watch now as Giovanni De Gennaro for Italy goes down the course, won its first World Championship individual medal, his silver medal in Augsburg, but he's low in 5.
Yeah, he's coming really low there. The water didn't push him at all, but we'll see what Giovanni is able to bring back. He has shown this year that he's got a really, really fast pace, and yeah, done a lot of finals.
Yeah, he's had a super season, hasn't he? A European Championship silver. Then he came in and he took a silver in Prague, a bit of a blip in he was 20th in Krakow, then 9th in Tarsen, and of course silver at the World Championships.
We have a review on gate 12. He was really tight on the line. He just put in his head, and the judges are going to check if that was really the whole head and the boat inside of the...
And they've given a 50. They have awarded a 50-second penalty, so if that stands, that's another big name who's missed the final here in Pau.
But that's quite good news for the Swiss team, if I see this right now. We'll have Gelindo Chiarello doing his first final in the World Cup. That's good news to me.
Indeed, and still another Swiss paddler to go, so every opportunity. But yeah, that 50-second penalty standing firm at the moment. Just got to wait for the review to be completed. But Giovanni De Gennaro for Italy, the World and European Championship silver medalist from this season, will not be in the final today. Only 32nd at the moment. Here is the move where he got the 50. And, well, he certainly asked the question. It's not the best angle for us. They'll have better angles. But the question is, did his whole head go in the gate line? And it was marginal from here. So that does mean, as you say, Gelindo Chiarello for Switzerland joins our finalists. Lucien Delfour now for Australia, who has not had the form that he has enjoyed for previous seasons, really before the pandemic, but he's very capable of making it into the final, but not with a touch.
Yeah, he picks up a touch there at the gate number 8. He's got a very light style, I'd say, always on top of the water. Works with a lot of frequency when paddling.
He's got 2 World Cup medals to his name, so no stranger to putting the pressure and maybe, you know, getting into a final the hard way as well as the easy way. He's going to certainly have to do it the hard way today.
Yeah, that was a really nice move over the stopper to the upstream gate 16, where he kept a lot of speed and right into the exit. And he's been able to, scrap a bit off this deficit here. Coming into the Kraken move, doing that one really nicely, keeping the speed. And setting up for the 22-23 move. You can see his boat is turning really well. I think it's a model he built on his own with some Australian brand.
Well, there's a review on gate 21. There's no penalty showing, but that is also being looked at. But his time is going to be outside of a place in the final. 1:01.26. It's good enough for 9th at the moment, so he still has a lifeline to cling on to. But that means the Xin Quan of the People's Republic of China, the World Championship finalist from Augsburg, is also now a finalist here in Pau. 4 boats to go in this World Cup men's kayak semi-final, and from one Australian to another, because Tim Anderson now heads down through gate 4.
Yeah, he's doing a very good work of the stopper between 4 and 5. Really coming in high into gate number 5. He's also got like a very light style on top of the water, even if he's picking up a touch now at gate number 8.
Well, the Aussies there, 2 touches on gate 8 in a row. They'll be wondering what happened on that section.
I have to talk to the coach maybe now. But then nothing is lost yet. He's setting up good at the move at the middle drop there, keeping the boat on top of the water, doing some nice and long strokes there.
He's yet to make a final this season at World Cup or World Championship level, but has got close. He came 12th in Tarsen, the last World Cup, the 3rd World Cup of this 5-race series, and he's managed to narrow the gap.
Yeah, so he's coming back now. It's under 2 seconds now, so if he holds this together, it looks quite good. Boat is really flat here, so he doesn't use too much power to get over. Setting up the 22-23 move. Oh, another touch. Now it's going to be really, really difficult to bring it home.
Yeah, he's done well to get himself back into contention, but that touch at the bottom surely is asking one question too many. As he now comes down towards the finish, the automatic qualification time now 1:01.06. He's outside of the qualification zone into 13th place. And that means that Boris Neveu of France, who I'm sure when he crossed the finish line thought, that's it, I'm done. The world champion of 2014 and 2021 will be in the final for France.
Next up we have Jiří Perskovic from the Czech Republic. I think he's won every big race that you can win, from the Olympics to the Worlds and the European Championships. And always showing us some great style, attacking the gates. Here going a bit low, but you can see how tight he is going on the exit behind the stopper, and already back into his cruising mode.
Well, he certainly leads the World Cup standings, and he's had a 4th, a 3rd and a 1st in the World Cup. Super consistent, finished 5th at the World Championships, and look at that, nearly a second up on the top section alone.
Yeah, great start to his run, and going for a really tight line here. Not turning too much, but just trying to keep the line as straight as possible. A real trademark Jiří Perskovic style.
So now this is where it all counts. Already the Czechs have one boat in the final. Andrei Tulka, the world champion of 2017, is in the final. Can they make it 2? Wow, 2.5 seconds up.
Great run coming together here, setting up the Kraken move. Taking a lot of speed into the upstream gate. And a short exit as we know it from him.
So no problems in 22, 23. 2 upstream gates stand between Jiří and a place in the final. Surely he's going to take the race lead. He just needs to deliver this last move, and he does that. Will he cruise to the finish now?
Yeah, he picked up a touch in gate 21, so I think he's going to push till the end to be sure to be able to win the final. But what a great run here from Yuri. He showed his great skills again, and a really nice last upstream gate with a lot of speed in the exit. So we're looking forward to see him again in the final.
Yeah, well done, Yuri. And we did see just that slightest touch. It was confirmed by that video replay on gate 21. But look at that, 97.61, the race lead, and that includes a 2-second penalty as we watch now the boat of Switzerland's Martin Duguid.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to his run, or at least I am. He lives here in Pau, and he's really keen on showing what he's been working on the last couple of years. And also show the French that he's capable of going fast here.
Well, he's he's making his mark. He won a World Cup race in 2020, albeit it wasn't a fully attended race, but he still delivered under pressure, and he's already been on the podium at the first World Cup of the season this year, and is lying 6th in the World Cup standings overall. So strong start. It's all about delivery now when it matters.
Yeah, so he's a bit behind on the split, but now we have to split on Yuri Prskavec, who was 1 second faster than the rest of the field at the top section. So I think Martin just has to push down. Still in contention, I think, for top 3 with this run. For him, it's not this run that counts, but the final one. So he has to hold it together now and really bring it down to the finish line, and then be able to attack again in the final.
Well, he looks very composed, very smooth, and very much in control. Yes, as you say, 2.2 seconds down, but that is based on a very quick time from Yuri Prskavec, our race leader. So surely Martin Duguid will add a second Swiss boat to this final. It's going to be tight, but he is inside into second place. Well done, Martin. We'll see you in the final. So 2 Swiss boats in the World Cup final here.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since we had that, so proud of my 2 teammates who were able to deliver today, and really looking forward to what they will put down in the final run.
So 1 boat to go, and it is a race between Germany's Noah Heger in 10th place and this man, the blistering sensation for France, Titouan Castryk, who is a 2-time junior world champion, and well, very young. A lot of pressure on these young shoulders.
Yeah, still a junior, so really showing the older guys how it's done. Very smooth style, always on top of the water, and yeah, I think he's really on a run this year, starting at the French selections and over junior Europeans and Worlds, where he won both the titles, I think, and making final at the Senior World Championships as well. Now we see him on the down at the drop there, really going for a tight line, and that looked really fast.
So already France have a boat in the final. That's Boris Neveu, the 2-time world champion. But the way that Titouan Castryk is paddling at the moment, it looks like he'll be joining into that final. But there is a touch. It's not all over yet, but he's just made the job much harder.
Yeah, wow. Getting a bit underwater there and pushed around. But he looks composed again, and he tries to bring this run down.
Well, it's hard to believe he's just paddling with such composure and calmness, but yet he is still a junior, and the pressure in front of his home crowd. It's going to be close. Now, the time he's got to beat is 1:01.11 to take a place in the final. It's going to be close. It's going to be outside that, but just respect for Titouan Castryk. Then, but for that penalty, he'd be in the final.
Yeah, just a bit of wide exit on the last upstream gate. That might have cost him a bit of time as well. Yeah, still, I think a great race for him, going off last after qualifications.
Well, that battle within the French team for the Olympic Games place in Paris is going to be very much one that you want to watch, and particularly from the outside, it'll be interesting to see. But that concludes the men's kayak semi-finals here in Pau in the south of France. And well, we can see how tight it is. 3.5 seconds between first and 10th place, and some big names have gone out in the semi-finals. Kauser went out, the world champion Prindish, and a winner from last year, and also Joe Clark, the Olympic champion from Rio 2016. But it is Yuri Priskovic who resumes business as usual, and he goes through in first place into that final. He'll go off last in the final. 12 o'clock we get underway Central European time. That's half an hour's time for the women's kayak final, and the men's kayak final will follow that on. So don't miss out that here live at Planet Canoe. Your reflections on that race?
Well, I was wrong with the prognostic that it had to be under 100 for the final. But we saw with Martin Srabotnik and Yuri Priskovic that there's still some time to make in this race if you do a really good run and you click all the moves. Really happy to have my two teammates in the final, and really looking forward for the big show now.
Well, that final is going to be very tight, and as you say, I think we will see some learning from the semi-finals, and we would expect, certainly in order to get on the podium and to take gold today, it looks like you're going to have to be around about 97 or less to take gold.
Yeah, it's not always that the final is faster, but yeah, I think 97 is maybe a good target. I'm interested to see if Yuri Priskovic is going to be able to bring it down. I think he hasn't won a big race before yet, so maybe the challenge for him today.
Well, it's great to see we have two boats from outside of the European continent, New Zealand and also People's Republic of China. Two Swiss boats in there. It's going to be a good final, but here is the lineup, and those boats will race off in reverse order in this men's kayak final at about 12:30 Central European time today. Those people missing out, there we have Titouan Kastrik, Vit Prindish, the world champion of just a month ago, and then also we have, well, some big names like Peter Kauser, Joe Clark, Felix Oshmaltz. They've missed out, such as the kind of the margins in this competition. But here we have a short breather for the athletes as they prepare for this World Cup final in Pau. But from myself, Andy Maddock, from Lucas Vero, it's goodbye for now. We'll see you at 12 o'clock Central European time for the men's and the women's kayak final.